Chapter 450. Dongbo Shuang also knew that in some of the rich and powerful clans in the deity realm, other than the most common blood battle arena, there were also other gambling matches, like exotic beasts. Among them, the Battle of Beauties was the most pleasing to the eye and the most common. Normally, two beautiful women would fight without any armor or boots. They would fight with weapons in their hands. As long as one side was injured, it was considered a rather merciful battle. As for the blood battle and the mutated beast battle, it would only end when one side died. Haha, since Brother Ying and Brother Luan Qi are so happy, I'll be the banker. Everyone can place their bets. The odds are 1 to 2. You can bet however you like, the second prince, who was sitting high above, said as he watched all this with a faint smile on his face. I'm betting on old Brother Ying's side. Old Brother Ying lost quite badly last time, so the beauties he chose this time will definitely be extraordinary. I'm still betting on Brother Luan Qi. Seeing that all the scions of the rich and powerful clans have placed their bets, Dongbo Shuang and the other 9 had also placed their bets out of respect. Of course, the 10 of them did not place a large amount of bets. They had a tacit understanding with each other, and each of them took out 10,000 deity crystals to place their bets. Soon, 2 women walked in from outside the hall. A white-robed woman and a violet-robed woman walked over barefoot, without any armor or protective gear. The 2 of them faced each other from afar. One of them had a sharp sword in her hand, while the other had a curved blade in both hands. Both of them were staring at each other. You sent by Ji again? The silver-robed youth, General Ying, sneered. Big Brother Luan Qi, I've long since been aware of Baiji's power. Why did you still send her? If you have the ability, then say that after you win, Luan Qi said indifferently. The silver-robed youth glanced at the violet-robed woman. The purple-clothed woman understood that she had to win this match. In the Battle of Beauties, as long as one side was wounded, the battle would end. However, even if she lost, there was no way General Ying would let her off. South, the 2 women confronted each other from afar and moved in an instant. The white-robed woman's white robes fluttered in the wind, creating a blurry illusion. Her sword streaked across the sky like a stream of light. The other purple-clothed woman disappeared in an instant and appeared next to the white-clothed woman. She began fighting with the white-clothed woman in midair. Weapons collided. The 2 women intersected and dodged again and again. The battle between beauties was indeed a feast for the eyes. Amazing. Dongbo Shuang thought to himself as he watched. These 2 girls are strong enough to pass the Starfield selections. However, I reckon that they're too old to qualify for the Bloodshed Palace's Myriad Flower Feast. The Myriad Flower Feast had a time limit of 11 million years. In reality, most deities cultivated very slowly. For example, the ancestors of the Xia people, the Purple Thunder Emperor, the Cloud Sea Emperor, and the Crimson Flame Emperor had all cultivated for more than 10 million years. In the deity realm, those who truly reached the peak of the deity realm would usually cultivate for more than 50 million years. However, the older one got, the lower the chances of becoming a world deity. The Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast only selected those with boundless prospects. If there was no age limit and the strongest deity was chosen, they might have lived for more than 100 million years. Their true deity heart might collapse right after the Myriad Flower Feast ended. That would be a joke. Cheat. A sword light flashed. 2 figures landed on the ground. The clothes of the purple-robed girl had been torn, and there was a large wound on her arm. Her blood was dripping onto the hall, but the wound was quickly healing. The purple-robed girl's face was somewhat pale. She had lost. She had lost. Trash. The silver-robed youth sitting there had a sinister look on his face as he growled. The purple-robed girl couldn't help but tremble when she heard this. Come here, the silver-robed youth said coldly. The purple-robed girl nervously walked over. Old Brother Ying, you're not going to kill the defeated beauties again, are you? Luan Qi chuckled. It's fine if I went over, but today I've invited the top 10 rankers of the Myriad Flower Feast. My business is none of your business. The silver-robed youth, General Ying, sneered. Luan Qi frowned slightly. but he soon laughed mockingly without saying anything else. Haha, old brother Luan Chi won this battle. There were quite a few people who placed their bets on old brother Luan Chi. This time, I've made a loss again. The second prince gave the order, and servants immediately began to deliver the deity crystals one by one. Donghua Shuiying had also placed his bet on Luan Chi because he felt that Luan Chi was a world deity, and as a world deity, he would have a higher chance of success. His bet was correct, and he made a small profit of 10,000 deity crystals. General Ying grabbed the purple robe girl and had her sit beside him, pouring wine and serving him. The banquet was still going on. There were songs and dances, as well as performances from some rare creatures. The banquet could be considered quite lively. General Ying, on the other hand, didn't utter a single word. Clearly, he was in a bad mood after losing the bet. His gaze landed on Donghua Shuiying, as well as on Jing Qiu, who was happily chatting with Donghua Shuiying. Why is it that no matter how much I cultivate, it's useless? Why is he so powerful after cultivating for only 2,000 years? And why is it so easy for him to become a world deity? Even his woman is so beautiful. General Ying's eyes were cold. Ha! Brother Donghua. General Ying suddenly spoke. Opposite him, Donghua Shuiying was startled, but he soon raised his head and smiled. General Ying, I can see that Brother Donghua is quite fond of her. I'll give this beauty to you. General Ying waved his hand, causing the purple-robed girl to be slightly taken aback. General Ying glanced at her and said, From now on, your life belongs to Brother Donghua. Hearing this, the purple-robed girl's heart was filled with joy. She had always been afraid of being executed by General Ying. Donghua Shuiying was somewhat puzzled. General Ying, what are you doing? Could it be that you look down on me? The silver-robed youth, General Ying, frowned. I wouldn't dare, Donghua Shuiying hurriedly said. Haha, Brother Donghua, since Brother Ying has gifted her to you, just accept it. It's just a beauty. Just accept it. The other scions of the rich clans all spoke up. Many thanks, General Ying. In truth, Donghua Shuiying had been watching from the side. He could guess that the purple-robed girl would suffer a miserable fate if she lost. Since that was the case, he might as well accept it. At the same time, he transmitted to Jing Qiu. Jing Qiu, she will listen to your orders from now on. Jing Qiu couldn't help but smile. Seeing Jing Qiu smile, General Ying couldn't help but narrow his eyes. Truly beautiful. Jing Qiu's beauty surpassed even her temperament. Haha, Brother Donghua, since I've gifted you a beauty, you should give me one as well, right? The silver-robed youth, General Ying, said, How about you give the blue-robed girl beside you to me? Donghua Shuiying was taken aback, and then his face turned ashen. Beside him, Jing Qiu was also taken aback, but soon after, she found it hard to conceal her anger. The atmosphere in the hall suddenly froze. The signs of the rich clans could all tell that something was wrong. General Ying, are you drunk? Donghua Shuiying said coldly. What? Not even a single girl? Are you looking down on me? The silver-robed youth's eyes flashed with coldness. She's my wife. Donghua Shuiying crushed the wine goblet in his hand. He coldly glared at the silver-robed youth. General Ying, aren't you going too far? So what if she's your wife? I told you to give her to me. Didn't you hear me? General Ying's eyes narrowed. Donghua Shuiying's eyes flickered with killing intent. At this moment, Luan Chi's voice sounded in his ears. Brother Donghua, this Ying heir's father is a stage 3 world deity, but he's also one of His Majesty's personal guards. His aunt is the famous venomous Ying world deity of our Calm Sea prefecture. He's his father's only child, and he's only a deity. Although he is only cultivated for 70 million years, his temperament is quite ordinary. No matter how many treasures he consumes, he will soon lose control of his heart. As a result, his actions have become increasingly demonic. You can't fight him head-on. It's not worth it. Brother Donghua, another voice sounded. It belonged to the second prince. General Ying's background is quite impressive, and he's not far from dying from the collapse of his true deity heart. That's why he's becoming even more demonic. Even I can't do anything to him. You mustn't fight him head-on. The two of them transmitted their voices. Brother Ying, Brother Dongbua obtained first place in the ranking battle, and he's very affectionate with his wife. You shouldn't act recklessly, the second prince said from his high seat. Second prince, this is a matter between me and Dongbua. You don't need to get involved. The silver-robed youth, General Ying, stared at Dongbua Shui Ying with a savage expression. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I said? Dongbua Shui Ying loosened his right hand, causing the powder from the crushed wine goblet to fall onto the table. Dongbua Shui Ying looked at the silver-robed youth and grinned. Hua! A youth in starry blue robes appeared next to the silver-robed youth. It was none other than Dongbua Shui Ying. Pa! 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 A palm slapped the silver-robed youth across the face. Like a phantom, he was slapped a dozen times in succession, and General Ying was sent flying backwards. A gray-robed elder behind him hurriedly stepped in to save him. The gray-robed elder was furious. He was a Stage 1 world deity, but he had never imagined that someone would dare to attack his young master in this hall. The appearance of this mirage body was too sudden. You dare hit me? General Ying, who had been slapped so hard that he spat out blood and his teeth flew out, turned to glare at Dongbua Shui Ying. Your mouth is too filthy, Dongbua Shui Ying said coldly. Chapter 451. The atmosphere in the hall froze in an instant. The second prince, young Master Luan Qi, and the others looked on in astonishment. Even the top 10 rankers of the ranking battle, Drunk Guest, Jiu Shi, 7th Mei Yu, and the others were shocked. After all, none of them had expected Dongbua Shui Ying to have such a fiery temper that he would directly attack someone. Previously, this Dongbua was very humble and courteous to everyone, but who would have thought that he would be so unyielding? The second prince looked down at Dongbua Shui Ying with a pensive expression. I've already told him about second brother Ying's background, but he still attacked without hesitation. It seems that this Dongbua, although he has a good temper, he can't be easily humiliated. He immediately gained a clearer understanding of Dongbua Shui Ying's character. In the future, when Dongbua Shui Ying rose to a high position within the Kamsi prefecture, the second prince would have a much better understanding of Dongbua Shui Ying, making it easier for him to interact with him. The silver-robed General Ying was about to go mad from anger. Over the years, who had dared to hit him? You had such a dirty mouth before, so I slapped your mouth. Let's just let this matter pass, and I won't bother about it anymore. Dongbua Shui Ying was still sitting there calmly. General Ying, I hope you understand that not everyone is someone you can provoke. General Ying was so angry that he was trembling. He had already lost control of his heart and was on the verge of going crazy. Now that he was being infuriated by Dongbua Shui Ying, he was on the verge of going crazy. This Dongbua had slapped him so many times, yet he was still spouting a bunch of principles. Why are you two still standing there like idiots? The silver-robed General Ying turned to look at the gray-robed elder and the male servant beside him and roared. What are you waiting for? Capture him for me. Capture this husband and wife pair. I want him to know the consequences of offending me. Attack? The gray-robed elder and the male servant were somewhat hesitant. The gray-robed elder was a Stage 1 world deity, while the male servant was only a peak deity. But he got first place in the ranking battle. It's to participate in the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast. The gray-robed elder hesitated. His Majesty had long since issued a strict order that forbade anyone from disrupting the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast. Trash! I asked you to capture him, not kill him. The silver-robed young man, General Ying, roared with a savage expression. I want to capture this husband and wife, but I can't kill him. But his wife doesn't have a rank, and she didn't participate in the God Palace Myriad Flower Feast either. Hurry up and go. If you don't, you too will know the consequences. The gray-robed elder felt that his master was about to go crazy. He didn't dare to disobey. He then turned to look at Dongbua Shui Ying, who was still seated at the table. Dongbua Shui Ying had picked up another wine bottle and was calmly pouring himself a cup of wine. Dongbua Shui Ying even glanced at the gray-robed old man with respect. I have no choice. If I don't make a move on you, the general will not let me go. So, I have no choice but to make a move. Boom! Just as his world deity domain spread out, the gray-robed elder took a step forward and appeared beside Dongbo Shuang. The second prince, who was seated high above, furrowed his brows. The tall, skinny old man beside him looked down coldly. Suddenly, the entire hall was suppressed by an even more powerful domain. Even space-time seemed to be shattered, and some particles could be faintly seen flowing around. Everyone present could sense the terrifying power contained within those slowly flowing particles. The gray-robed elder felt himself being imprisoned. Although he was able to struggle free, he knew that there was a huge gap between their strength. He could not help but look up. Lord Song. The gray-robed elder looked at the tall, skinny old man beside the second prince. This old man was the second prince's butler, Song Chun. He came from the Song clan, which was even more powerful than the Long clan. The ancestor of the Song clan was a powerful existence, and this Song Chun was a descendant of the Song clan. He had once received a great favor from the Calm Sea Prefecture Master, and before he broke through to become a Stage 3 world deity, he had been willing to serve the Long clan forever. As such, the Calm Sea Prefecture Master allowed him to follow his second son. Enough. The second prince looked down and frowned. Old brother Ying. Dongbo took first place in the ranking battle of the Myriad Flower Feast, and information regarding him has long since been reported to the Bloodshed God Palace. Do you still wish to capture him alive? Your Highness, you wish to stop me? The silver-robed general, Ying, seemed to have gone mad as he looked up at the second prince. The second prince felt disdain in his heart. What a madman! He had seen many people who had entered the final stages of their true deity hearts crumbling, so he could not be bothered to bicker with such a madman. He did not wish to invite him to a banquet like this. But if he did not invite him, this General Ying would most likely come by himself. After all, it was impossible to imagine what a madman who had lived to the point of insanity could do. Yes, of course I have to stop you, the second prince said as he looked down. The silver-robed General Ying was taken aback. Normally, the second prince would rarely clash head-on with him, but now that he did, General Ying was somewhat taken aback. The second prince truly did not fear his authority. I'm also helping you by stopping you, the second prince said. Do you know that Dongbo is from the material world? The material world? General Ying frowned. Does his being from the material world have anything to do with this? How dare he hit me? Oomph. How could I possibly forgive him for this humiliation? The second prince sighed inwardly. I've already told this Dongbo to bear with it. I had originally planned to stop General Ying when he became even more arrogant. If Dongbo had not made a move, I would have been able to easily suppress him. But now, this second Ying seems to have gone mad. He wanted Dongbo Shuang to remember his kindness. When he had nowhere to retreat, the second prince made his move. Who would have thought that Dongbo would act so quickly and suddenly? He's from material world and has only cultivated for 2,000 years or so. Don't tell me you still can't figure it out? The second prince looked down and sighed. Old brother Ying, Dongbo is a realm lord. Only one of his clones is attending the banquet. His main body is still in the material world. If I'm not mistaken, his wife's main body is in the material world as well. A lord of the material world? He and his wife's main body are in the material world? General Ying was stunned. So what? Don't tell me you still don't understand? The two of them aren't afraid of death. The second prince shook his head. If you push it too far, the two of them will probably self-detonate in an instant. All they've lost is a clone, which they can easily cultivate back. But if they want to cultivate another clone embryo and cultivate it back, they won't be able to make it to the arena. If they can't participate in the Myriad Flower Feast, the grand champion of the ranking battles will be unable to participate. This matter will be reported to the higher-ups. His Majesty has already given strict orders. You're the one who forced this. What do you think will happen to you? The second prince looked at him. The silver-robed General Ying was stunned. It's not just you. Your aunt and father will also be punished for your involvement. The second prince shook his head. Ah, The silver-robed General Ying was stunned. He looked at Dongbua Shuang, who was standing opposite him. Dongbua Shuang was sipping his wine, not even bothering to look at him. That damn bastard. The silver-robed General Ying gritted his teeth. So that's what he's thinking. Dongbua Shuang, on the other hand, was secretly impressed. What a second prince. Not only did he suppress General Ying head-on, he even got General Ying to thank him for his kindness. But when it came to General Ying, Dongbua Shuang did not fear him in the slightest. Self-detonation? That was the most helpless choice. After all, he had lost a clone. In truth, Dongbua Shuang had long since seen through the most fundamental point. Aside from his own people, the second prince was the most unwilling to see anything happen to him. Chapter 452. Today was the second time. The second prince had invited the top 10 rankers of every myriad flower feast, and he was famous and had a wide network. How could he allow Dongbua Shuang to meet with any mishap at the banquet where he had invited the top 10 rankers? Whether it was his wife being snatched away or Dongbua Shuang and his wife being forced to self-detonate, the second prince had actually allowed all of this to happen. What would the other experts who had participated in the ranking battles think of him if news of this spread? What would the top 10 rankers of the ranking battles think of him? Over the years, the second prince had been trying to win the hearts of the people. Would he allow a madman to ruin his plans? Just now, the second prince had persuaded him to believe that he was truly in a hopeless situation. He was probably waiting for a better opportunity to act and earn his gratitude. This was what Dongbua Shuang was most confident about. Furthermore, both he and his wife were only avatars in the deity world. How could such a useless silk pants humiliate them? If he gave him some face, he was General Ying. If he did not give him face, he was just a fool. Fall out? So what if he did? Would the venomous Ying world deity dare to kill him? Very good. Are you smart? The silver-robed General Ying stared at Dongbua Shuang. A lord of a material world? Boundless future? But what does your future have to do with me? My true deity heart is about to collapse, so why would I be afraid of you? You're not afraid of me. Dongbua Shuang nodded. But do you think I'm afraid of you? Very good, very good. The silver-robed General Ying looked at the flow of particles around him. The entire hall was suppressed, and his subordinates could not move at all. This made him even crazier. He looked up at the second prince. Your Highness, are you really going to stop me? Old brothering, is there a need to make such a big fuss? If you do, the matter of the myriad flower feast will be reported to His Majesty. The second prince shook his head. I'm just helping you. Not only did he say that he was helping you, but he also made General Ying speechless. In truth, the second prince looked down on a madman. What he cared about was this banquet. He could not allow a madman to ruin it. Very good. General Ying gnashed his teeth and turned to look at Dongbua Shuang. Dongbua, just you wait. Once we leave this hall, you'll see how I deal with you. Even as he spoke, General Ying's eyes began to redden. He had been suppressing a bellyful of anger. He had been slapped so many times in the face. In the past, he had always been arrogant and trampled on others. When had he ever been slapped in the face? Even the second prince wouldn't dare to humiliate him like this. He had already gone mad, and now that he was being humiliated like this, he became even crazier. Annie, I'm going crazy. I'm going to be humiliated to death. General Ying immediately transmitted to his auntie. As for his father was still at the Bloodshed God Palace, serving as a guard for His Majesty the Bloodblade. The venomous Ying world deity was currently residing within the Long clan as a guest. She was currently resting in one of the residences within the Long clan, sitting on a couch. Her huge black tail was currently coiled within the room. There was no need for her to restrain herself when she was alone. She was not human. Not only her, but also her brother. Furthermore, General Ying was not human. He was a being of the deity world, and his descendants were few and far between. His comprehension ability was average and low, and in their entire clan, the siblings were the only ones who had truly made a name for themselves. Her brother had only had 2 children, but they could only be raised to become deities. The realms of a deity were too low. In the face of endless time, even if they were not killed, they would eventually die from not being able to protect their hearts. Amen? The venomous Ying world deity's expression suddenly changed, and a terrifying savagery appeared in her eyes. This Donghua is truly audacious. South. She instantly disappeared from the residence. Within the great hall, after the second prince suppressed the situation, the banquet continued. Snow Eagle, that General Ying is too crazy. Once the banquet is over, will we be attacked on the way back? Jing Qiu transmitted to him. Donghua Shui Ying replied, Jing Qiu, don't worry. If that General Ying hadn't spoken those ruthless words, we might have been in trouble. Since he has spoken those words, we will be absolutely safe on the way back. Then we will be absolutely safe on our way back. No matter what, the second prince will protect us. Jing Qiu nodded lightly. The silver-robed General Ying was drinking wine with his head lowered. Occasionally, he would raise his head, but his eyes were red with madness. AI. Donghua Shui Ying sighed inwardly. Although he did not like the general, he still felt that he was pitiful. No matter how arrogant as Silk Pants he was, even if he was the young master of the soaring cloud lake. At a banquet of this level, he would not act recklessly even if he knew of Donghua Shui Ying's identity. General Ying might have been a Silk Pants, but since he had become a deity, he was definitely rational. What a pity! This was how a madman whose true deity heart was about to collapse would behave. He would lose his rationality and act without any regard for the consequences. How could one talk about rationality and consequences to a madman who was about to die? Who is it? A roar suddenly came from outside the hall. Home! A terrifying aura suddenly rushed in. Everyone within the hall felt a bone-deep fear as an ancient and incomparably evil aura rushed into the hall. A yellow-robed woman had already stepped into the hall. Her eyes were cold as she swept her gaze across the hall. The second prince was startled. He hurriedly stood up. Senior Venomous Ying. The yellow-robed woman walked in. Her body was surrounded by a sinister black aura, and her eyes had vertical slits. She was cold and gloomy, as if she was an emotionless creature. Everyone present felt a sense of fear. The venomous Ying world deity. The famous venomous Ying world deity. Her most famous appearance was when she had poisoned a stage 4 world deity, Pu Zong Monarch. She had caused him to suffer so much that he could no longer chase after her. Her achievements in the field of hexing poisons were extremely high, and she was definitely the #1 expert in the entire Kamsi prefecture. After all, how formidable was she to be able to cause a stage 4 world deity to suffer? You are Donghua? The venomous Ying world deity's gaze landed on Donghua Shui Ying. Senior Venomous Ying, the second prince hurriedly said. Shut up, the venomous Ying world deity coldly said. The second prince immediately felt somewhat awkward. Donghua Shui Ying glanced at him and understood that he could no longer rely on the second prince. However, this was normal. The second prince's power came from his father's deterrence and many good friends. But the venomous Ying world deity relied on herself. Her powerful strength allowed her to disregard everything else. I am Donghua. Donghua Shui Ying stood up. Greetings, venomous Ying world deity. It's too late for you to beg for mercy. The yellow-robed woman's vertical pupils swept across Donghua Shui Ying's wife, Jing Qiu. Your wife is truly beautiful. It's no wonder my nephew likes her. I called you venomous Ying world deity because I respect your strength, not because I'm begging for mercy, Donghua Shui Ying calmly said. I'm just a lord of a material world. There's no need for me to beg you for mercy. The atmosphere froze. Everyone felt stifled. He actually slapped me more than 10 times. Neither you nor father have ever hit me before. The silver-robed General Ying shouted. I'll definitely make him regret it. I'll let him know the price of offending me. Rest assured, Auntie will help you vent your anger, the yellow-robed venomous Ying world deity said. You're still so daring in front of me. The yellow-robed woman sneered. She extended her right hand, causing a terrifying pressure to spread out and envelop both Dongbua, Shui, Ying, and Jing Xiao. I won't act against you, but I'll take your wife away. The yellow-robed woman sneered. Let's see what you can do. So what if you become the disciple of a powerful existence? My teacher is also a powerful existence. Those who could reach stage 3 or 4 deities could easily become the disciple of a powerful existence, even if they were not originally the disciple of a powerful existence. Senior Venomous Ying, 7th May, you could not help but speak up. Your Highness May you, there's no need for you to concern yourself with my matters, the venomous Ying world deity coldly replied. She then glared at Dongbua Shuang. Aren't you arrogant? Now that I've taken your wife away, she can't even commit suicide in front of me. She's now my nephew's plaything. Dongbua Shui Ying's eyes were filled with boundless fury and coldness. He was enraged. It was one thing for a madman like General Ying, whose true deity heart was on the verge of collapsing, to think that the venomous Ying world deity would be so protective of him. Perhaps in her eyes, she did not hold him in high regard, but that was understandable. As a stage 3 world deity, her actions were even more unbridled. Why would she care about a mere deity like him? Venomous Ying world deity, there are some things that can be done. There are some things that can't be undone once they've been done. Dongbua Shui Ying's eyes were filled with killing intent. Ha ha! A little thing like you dares to act so arrogantly in front of me? So what if you're a realm lord? How far can you cultivate, even if you spend your entire life cultivating? The venomous Ying world deity sneered. With a wave of her hand, Jing Xiao, who was standing beside Dongbua Shuang, flew toward the venomous Ying world deity. Dongbua Shui Ying's eyes were filled with fury. Fine. He was not in a rush to reveal himself. Since that was the case, he would ask a powerful existence for help. As a grade 1 true meaning transcendent, he would ask a powerful existence for help. For the sake of preventing others from suspecting him, he would ask his friend, Chihuahua Laozu, to act. Chihuahua Laozu had a deep friendship with sacred Master Crimson Dust, and he had even saved his wife before. If he were to act, he would not arouse any suspicions. Asking a powerful existence for help was too easy. All he had to do was shout out his name. Originally, Dongbua Shui Ying was not in a hurry. However, the venomous Ying world deity had truly angered him. Ha ha! Dongbua, you think you're fit to act so arrogantly in front of me? The silver-robed General Ying was incomparably deranged. Hua hua hua. Suddenly, countless white grains of sand appeared within the palace hall, wreaking havoc within. With a terrifying pressure, they easily enveloped Jing Xiao. Even the venomous Ying world deity's expression changed greatly. She retreated repeatedly, a strange trident appearing in her hands. The countless grains of sand converged to form a plump white-robed man with a curled beard. This plump man stroked his beard and sneered at the yellow-robed, venomous Ying world deity. Venomous Ying, are you really that arrogant? Chapter 453. The plump man turned to look at Dongbua Shuang. Brother, with your big brother here, no one can bully you. At the same time, the rescued Jing Xiao ran over to Dongbua Shui Ying's side. At this moment, Dongbua Shui Ying was filled with gratitude. He did not think that the White Sand City Lord would really help him and the venomous Ying world deity. Although they had been brothers before, Dongbua Shui Ying had thought that it was just an ordinary friendship. But now he could stand out and fight. How could Dongbua Shui Ying not be grateful? City Lord, Dongbua Shui Ying could not help but say. Call me Big Brother. The plump man glared. Why? Are you still treating me like an outsider? Big Brother. Dongbua Shui Ying said, Thank you, otherwise all right. Let me deal with this bitch first. The plump man stroked his beard and looked at the wary yellow-robed, venomous Ying world deity. Venomous Ying, what? Are you still not satisfied? Do you still want to fight? The second prince and the other scions of the rich clans did not utter a word as they watched this scene unfold. The White Sand City Lord and the venomous Ying world deity. These two were absolutely extraordinary existences, and they were famous even within the Calm Sea Prefecture. It was a rare sight to see two of them fighting head-on. "Auntie," the silver-robed General Ying shouted. "Shut up," the yellow-robed, venomous Ying-world deity shouted back. The silver-robed General Ying's eyes had long since turned red, and he did not care about anything else. "Auntie, we can't let Dombo off. We must capture his wife." The White Sand City Lord stroked his beard and sneered. "Tisk tsk tsk. Venomous Ying, your nephew's true deity heart is about to collapse. Wouldn't it be better to find a place to quietly spend the last few days of his life? Also, what are you doing with your poisonous trident? Do you think you could beat me? If you want to fight, I'll accompany you and teach you a good lesson." The venomous Ying world deity gritted her teeth. The two of them specialized in different areas. The venomous Ying world deity's combat power was not strong, and she could only be considered an ordinary stage 3 world deity. The Lord of White Sand City was different. The White Sand City Lord had combined world deity ranked secret techniques to create a terrifying secret skill, the White Sand of Annihilation. This was something he had been pondering over when he was a deity, and he had been studying it for a long time. He had even given himself the title of White Sand. The city he built was also called White Sand City. When the white sand blew, it annihilated all living things. This was an extremely powerful domain-type secret skill. Within the range of the white sand, ordinary stage 3 world deities would have to escape with heavy injuries. Even if they could resist the White Sand of Annihilation and fight, they would only be able to exert a portion of their strength. Usually, they would be easily trampled by the White Sand City Lord. Therefore, the Master of White Sand City was considered one of the top universe gods in the third heaven. In addition, his body was also the body of white sand. His ability to survive was extremely strong. That was why the venomous Ying world deity had even called the Calm Sea Prefecture Master Big Brother White Sand with her lovely voice. "Are you really going to protect him?" The venomous Ying world deity was somewhat furious. "Of course." The White Sand City Lord gave a faint smile. "Venomous Ying, listen well. Dombo is my brother, so I will protect him. If you dare bully him in the slightest, don't blame me for being heartless." The venomous Ying world deity gritted her teeth. Turning around, the black stream of energy around her wrapped around the silver-robed General Ying. "Let's go." South bringing General Ying with her, she flew out of the hall. General Ying had a luxurious residence within the Calm Sea Prefecture capital. The venomous Ying world deity descended from the sky with General Ying in tow. As for his servants, she could not be bothered with them. The servants would come running back. Within a luxurious hall, the venomous Ying world deity flew into it. Only then did the black stream of energy around her place General Ying down. "Auntie, we can't just let things end like this." The silver-robed General Ying had a savage expression on his face. His eyes were bloodshot as he roared. "Since the White Sand City Lord is helping him, we can find an opportunity to secretly capture Dombo's wife." "Shut up," the venomous Ying world deity angrily rebuked. "Auntie." General Ying hurriedly grabbed his aunt's hand. "If I don't vent this resentment, I won't be satisfied even if I die." The venomous Ying world deity waved her hand and walked out. Hong Long, the doors to the hall closed. The venomous Ying world deity turned her head to look. Countless black streams of energy surrounded the hall, forming a suppressive array. Inside, General Ying was still madly smashing the doors and windows, but with the suppression of the array, he was unable to break through. "Capture him, kill him, kill him. He's gone crazy again." A hint of disgust could be seen in the venomous Ying world deity's eyes. She had a selfish nature and was famous for her ruthlessness. In truth, she did not have many friends within the Calm Sea Prefecture. Of course, her elder brother was the personal bodyguard of His Majesty and had considerable influence. Due to her elder brother's relationship with him, the venomous Ying world deity was able to live a relatively good life. As the only son of her elder brother, she still had to take care of him. But in terms of relationship, in truth, she looked down on this nephew of hers. However, to the venomous Ying world deity, anyone who dared to bully her nephew would be not giving her any face. With her cold and stern temperament, she would naturally act. He's gone mad. From time to time, he would go completely crazy. The venomous Ying world deity glanced at the hall. General Ying was still madly smashing the doors and howling. It's better for his deity heart to crumble and die earlier. The venomous Ying world deity turned around and walked out. There were guards stationed at the entrance of the hall. "Look after the general," the venomous Ying world deity ordered. "Yes," the two guards respectfully replied. They looked at the maddened General Ying, and a trace of pity flashed across their eyes. They could tell that General Ying's condition had worsened. It was likely that his true deity heart would crumble within the next 8 to 10 years. At this point, with both the White Sand City Lord and the venomous Ying world deity directly opposing him, Dongbua Shui Ying naturally could no longer continue with the banquet. The White Sand City Lord brought Dongbua Shui Ying and Jing Xiu away from the banquet. The second prince even personally sent them off. "Brother Dongbua, I have no way of dealing with the venomous Ying world deity. You can't blame the second prince for this. I'm already grateful for the second prince stopping General Ying," Dongbua Shui Ying said. "Let's go." The White Sand City Lord, Dongbua Shui Ying, and Jing Xiu arced through the sky and left. They flew above the calm Sea Prefecture City. Dongbua Shui Ying and Jing Xiu were both thanking the White Sand City Lord. The White Sand City Lord laughed. "There's no need for the two of you to say anything. Since I've recognized you as my brother, I'll naturally protect you. I'm staying in the Long Clan residence, so I naturally had to act the moment I discovered you. In truth, General Ying's true deity heart is about to crumble, and he will occasionally go crazy. Even if he manages to maintain his calm, his thoughts are no longer normal. His temperament cannot be understood with common sense. I've long heard that those who fail to maintain their true deity heart will go crazy, and that their true deity heart will crumble very soon." Dongbua Shui Ying sighed. But who would have thought that he would lose his rationality and become so crazy? There was a process to becoming crazy. From normal rationality, one would gradually turn into a madman. General Ying would go crazy when he maintained his calm, but the moment he lost his cool, he would go crazy. "Have you seen it this time?" The White Sand City Lord teased. "Yes." Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. Although he knew a lot of common sense, and the artifact Spirit Crimson Rock had told him a lot of information, he still could not imagine it without seeing it with his own eyes. A deity who was slowly going crazy and on the verge of death would become so crazy. Remember, no one can predict what a dying deity or world deity will do, the White Sand City Lord said. The stronger a world deity is, the more vigilant one must be when they are about to go crazy. "I understand." Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. However, those who go crazy are usually deities or weaker world deities. Powerful world deities will usually choose to seal their memories and reincarnate when they feel that something is amiss. The White Sand City Lord continued. Without the influence of their past, they will begin a brand new life. If they do not die and become a deity, they will awaken their memories and have a brand new life. Their state of mind will become much more clear. Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. All of this was still very far away from him. "General Ying, you can ignore this matter. He is most likely not far from death. However, you must be careful of that venomous Ying woman," the White Sand City Lord said. "Oh." Dongbua Shui Ying furrowed his brows. "She is selfish by nature, and she will never forget anyone who offends her. The moment she gets the chance, she will definitely act against you," the White Sand City Lord said. "Of course, you can be at ease during the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast. However, I can't always be by your side in the future. If she sets her sights on you, it is best to be careful." "I understand." Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. Venomous Ying? He actually wanted to forcefully take away his wife to be a plaything for his nephew? Dongbua Shui Ying's heart was immediately filled with killing intent. However, he understood that even if he were to ask the powerful existence Chihuahua Laozu to act, he would only be able to save his wife. It was unlikely that he would kill the venomous Ying world deity. Powerful existences had extremely high statuses, and without any special reason, they would not kill a world deity. Venomous Ying, Just you wait. Dong Ying only hid his killing intent. Chapter 454. In the quiet room of the cave residence, Dong Ying sat cross-legged on a cushion, his eyes closed as he tried to comprehend the profound mysteries of the spear art in his mind. It was not just his avatar. Even his true body in the distant material world of the Xia people was meditating as well. As a world deity, his true body had already grasped hold of the world deity heart, and he was currently focusing all his attention on the chaotic deity heart. The 3-year period is almost up. Dong Ying opened his eyes. I practiced my spear art countless times and practiced it countless times. I've also tried deducing the laws of profound mysteries, but this chaotic deity heart always feels like it's separated by a thin veil. It's misty. I can see it, but it's always a bit blurry. In the past 3 years, my chaotic hole suppression hasn't improved much. Instead, my other mystic techniques have improved a lot. Dong Ying couldn't help but laugh. The main reason was that he had spent too much effort on chaos hole suppression in the past. No matter how much he improved, it was still very, very small. On the other hand, he spent some time perfecting his other secret skills, especially the star meteor annihilation. To be precise, this move should be renamed as the Chaotic Hole Extreme Strike. Its might was getting stronger. 3 years was too short for a god. The entire Calm Sea Prefecture city was once again bustling with noise and excitement. The myriad flower feast selections, the arena battles, were about to begin. It was different from the previous ranking battles, which were not open to the public. The last 2 rounds of the survival battle were open to the public, allowing the humans and the experts of other races to come and watch. Step back. Step back. Within the bloodshed region, the army soldiers were maintaining order. The Calm Sea Prefecture Master and Monarch Mo Shui were seated on the magnificent platform, and beneath them were the White Sand City Lord, the Ink Cloud City Lord, Marshal Qin, the venomous Ying world deity, King Rong Hai, and the emissary from the Bloodshed God Palace. Below the high platform sat 1,000 experts. They were none other than Dong Ying, 7th Meiyu, and the rest of the top 1,000 rankers in the ranking battle. Brother White Sand, King Rong Hai boorishly said. He looked at the White Sand City Lord beside him. I heard that not long ago, you fought with the venomous Ying? You almost fought him? The yellow-robed venomous Ying world deity, who was seated across from him, pretended to be pitiful and said, Isn't that so? That little brother of his was called Dong Bo, and he was precisely that brat who obtained first place in the ranking battle. He actually beat my nephew. I just wanted to help my nephew vent his anger, but I didn't expect Brother by Sha to be so ruthless and want to protect his little brother. I'm not Brother by Sha's opponent, so I can only endure it. White venomous, 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 venerable King Venomous. That's right, old Brother White Sand. Venomous Ying is so delicate. For you to bully her makes my heart ache, King Rong Hai teased. The Lord of White Sand City glanced at the 2 women, the White. TSK, TSK, TSK. When are you going to taste her voodoo poison? Let's see if you can still call her weak. The one I can't afford to offend the most is Big Brother Rong Hai. He has cultivated his body to such a level that my hexing poison is completely useless against him, the venomous Ying world deity said. As for the emissary, do you think I would dare to act against him? What do you, venomous Ying, not dare to do? Marshal Qin sneered. You even dare to act against Monarch Pu Zong. So who wouldn't dare? Also, I've only heard of your nephew bullying others in the Calm Sea Prefecture. Who would dare to bully your nephew? In my opinion, you should watch over him. The yellow-robed, venomous Ying world deity frowned. She looked at Marshal Qin, but she did not say anything. The Calm Sea Prefecture Master and Monarch Mo Shui were watching from above. Old Dragon, Monarch Mo Shui, stroked his snow-white beard. Of the stage 3 world deities of your Calm Sea Prefecture, who do you think will become a stage 4 world deity and inherit the position of Prefecture Master? Mo Yun. The Calm Sea Prefecture master beamed. Mo Yun became a world deity in 10,000 years, a stage 2 world deity in 300,000 years, and a stage 3 world deity in 10 million years. His talent is overflowing, and his rate of improvement is close to that of some grade 1 true meaning transcendence. I think highly of him, but he still needs to be tempered. In terms of experience, he's still lacking compared to White Sand and Marshall Wu. Both of them have cultivated for billions of years and have cultivated their own powerful secret skills. It's just that White Sand and Marshall Wu have remained stagnant at the stage 3 world deity, with no hope of breaking through. No hope of breaking through. Monarch Mo Shui nodded. I too have no hope of breaking through. I can't struggle out of my shackles and jump out of the river of time. True, eternity, I don't know if I'll be able to survive this reincarnation. Reincarnation. The Kamsi Prefecture Master sighed. Brother Mo Shui, I might have to walk this path in the future. Sealing one's memories to reincarnate would leave one with no memories of their previous life, and even their souls would be weakened to the extreme, leaving only a bit of spirituality. All advantages would be given up. Wanting to live on and become a deity? The possibility was very low. Many stage 4 world deities chose to reincarnate, but in the end, there was no news of them. Don't give up. Until the very last moment, there's still a chance of taking that final step. Monarch Mo Shui laughed. If you succeed, you must take care of my daughters. Haha, if I succeed, this is a small matter. The Kamsi Prefecture Master's eyes were filled with expectation. In terms of strength, the two of them were very close to the level of powerful existences. However, if they could not jump out of the river of time and struggle out of its shackles, they would forever sink into oblivion, unable to transcend eternity. My previous attempt failed. It seems that I'll have to make a trip to Moonstar, the Kamsi Prefecture Master muttered to himself. I must give it a try. Prefecture Master. The emissary stood up. It's about time. Shall I begin? Only then did the Kamsi Prefecture Master stop thinking about it. Begin. Dongbua Shuiying and the others sat down one after another. To their north was an arena that was 5,000 kilometers long and wide. The arena was surrounded by spectators who had rushed over from all directions. Jing Xiao, the Xia people, and the other deities had also come to spectate. The second round of the Bloodshed God Palace's myriad flower feast will now officially begin. The emissary walked to the edge of the high platform and looked into the distance. His voice reverberated throughout the world, and as his gaze swept across, the countless deities did not dare to raise their heads to look at him. The first round will be Dongbua against Yin Feng. Begin. Immediately, the countless spectators went into an uproar. Dongbua? First place in the ranking battle. Yin Feng? The 1,000th place in the ranking battle. The strongest and the weakest. That Yin Feng sure is pitiful. If Dongbua can be ranked first, how can they let him compete with the second place in the arena battle? Normally, they would choose to compete with those ranked lower than them. But who would have thought that he would be ranked last? There's no suspense in this match. Let's see just how powerful this Dongbua is. He must have some tricks up his sleeve to be ranked first. Everyone was filled with anticipation. None of them had any doubts about the outcome of this match. They were all certain that Dongbua Shui Ying would emerge victorious. However, almost none of them had ever seen Dongbua Shui fight before. After all, only a minority had seen the scene of the Mountain Wu Starfield selections. Furthermore, that match had been far too simple. It had only been a single move. Dongbua Shui stood up and walked towards the arena. Elsewhere, a white-haired man wearing a gray cloak was frowning. He had to fight Dongbua, who was ranked first in his very first match. He felt somewhat depressed. Chapter 455. Second round. Stepping onto the arena. Dongbua Shui calmly stood there, while the gray-cloaked, white-haired man also stepped onto the arena. Greetings, Dongbo. Please be lenient. This person called Yin Feng immediately bowed. Dongbua Shui Ying was slightly startled, but he calmly replied, Life and death are decided in an arena battle. No mercy is allowed. Please don't blame me. Yin Feng laughed awkwardly. What a joke. On average, Not even one starfield could rank within the top 1,000 of the ranking battles in the entire Comsi prefecture. How could he be careless when facing such an expert? What if he was too careless and got hit? I never thought that this kid, who is only cultivated for 2,000 years, wouldn't have the slightest bit of arrogance in a place like the Myriad Flower Feast. Although Yin Feng appeared embarrassed, he was secretly calculating in his heart. He had originally planned to use his opponent's arrogance to gain an opportunity. After all, being able to rank within the top 1,000 meant that his strength was close to the threshold of a world deity. He was much stronger than the red-haired man, Shui Yun, and the others. Both of you get ready. A golden-armored general below the arena activated the spirit array. A huge ceiling spirit array formed around the arena. It was like a cover that covered the entire arena. There was also an hourglass in the arena. There was sand of time in the hourglass. Begin, the golden-armored general commanded. Shwa shwa shwa. The man called Yin Feng instantly unsheathed his blade. One after another, figures attacked Dongbua Shui Ying from different directions. A total of 7 Yin Fengs attacked Dongbua Shui Ying with different blade techniques. The great chaotic true force within Dongbua Shui Ying's body surged. With a sweep of his spear, the surrounding area sunk into darkness and began to collapse. The surging power directly shattered the 7 Yin Fengs. This was not a ranking battle, where the opponent's strength would gradually increase. This was a true arena battle where one's life was at stake. Dongbua Shui Ying immediately used his great chaotic true force, followed by a secret skill. With a single move, the surrounding space sunk into darkness, shattering everything. I admit defeat. Yin Feng, who was standing on the spot, shouted without hesitation as his heart trembled at the scene before him. In front of Dongbua Shui Ying, the area of a few hundred li around him had completely collapsed. That terrifying might was enough to make one's heart tremble. Moreover, he had already experienced it with his Wind Shadow incarnation. Although his Wind Shadow incarnation wasn't as strong as his main body, it still had 50% of its strength. The 7 Wind Shadow incarnations were annihilated without even touching the spear. How powerful was that? It was far beyond the threshold of a world deity. Yin Feng admits defeat. Dongbo is victorious. The golden-armored general shouted from below. The outcome of the arena battle would either be decided by one side admitting defeat or one side dying in battle. He admitted defeat just like that. You haven't done anything yet, have you? That Yin Feng seems to be at the same spot. Did he just test it out? You're scared? He admitted defeat too quickly. Countless onlookers were discussing spiritedly. Idiot. One idiot. He admitted defeat before even exchanging blows. Amidst the crowd of onlookers, there was a group of soldiers protecting a silver-robed youth. It was none other than the cold-faced General Ying. After 3 years, although the look in General Ying's eyes had become even more terrifying and evil, he was still able to maintain a basic level of calmness. Is there no one stronger enough to defeat this Dongbua? Can't you at least let him suffer a little? General Ying was very displeased. He was targeting Dongbua Shui Ying. The main reason was that Dongbua Shui Ying was too famous, and he was too young. Anyone could see that Dongbua Shui Ying had a bright future ahead of him. However, General Ying was already at the end of his life. His power did not come from his own strength or potential. Instead, it came from his father's protection. This made General Ying even more displeased, and he disliked Dongbua Shui Ying even more. Beautiful. Amazing. Dongbua is truly amazing. We didn't even get a fight, but he was already so scared that he admitted defeat. The deities of the Xia people, as well as Jing Xiu, were watching happily. They were all seated in a corner of the crowd. Dongbua is truly amazing. Yin Feng is ashamed of his inferiority, Yin Feng said as he bowed. Your strength isn't bad either. Your cloning techniques are quite impressive. Dongbua Shui Ying praised. This was the truth. Yin Feng's 7 clones had all surpassed the limits of the deity realm, so he would probably be able to defeat the fierce shaman warrior within 10 moves. After exchanging a few words, The two walked off the stage and returned to their respective seats. The second match, the emissary continued. Drunk guest against Murong Qing. Donghua Shui Ying returned to his seat. Congratulations, Donghua, 7th Mei Yu said from the side. It's a bit easier against the last ranked opponent. I'm guessing that you'll be in a similar situation. Donghua Shui Ying said with a smile. At the same time, he turned his gaze to the distant stage, where Drunk Guest and Murong Qing were fighting. Drunk Guest was dressed in green robes. He looked rather old, and he carried a sword on his back. Of course, one couldn't judge one's age on the surface. In reality, Drunk Guest had only cultivated for 20,000 years. Both sides quickly exchanged blows. It was almost a repeat of the previous match. Both sides had barely exchanged blows before it ended. However, in this battle, the one called Murong Qing had died, killed with a single sword. What a fast sword! Donghua Shui Ying's eyes narrowed. He immediately felt threatened. What a terrifying sword! Amazing! 7th Mei Yu was also shocked. Both of them were a little stunned. 7th Mei Yu was an expert in sword techniques. Her sword was fast and straightforward, and her sword technique was incomparably perfect. As for Drunk Guest, his sword was even simpler. It seemed to be a single move. It wasn't complicated at all, but a single move was extremely powerful. Split the heavens? Donghua Shui Ying muttered. Yes, split the heavens. 7th Mei Yu nodded. It feels like the split the heavens deity heart. Although he had read about the Starfield preliminaries, Drunk Guest had only casually struck the fierce shaman warrior with his sword during the Starfield preliminaries, and the fierce shaman warrior had shattered. He hadn't used any sword techniques at all, but in this arena battle, he had revealed some of his true abilities. His sword techniques have already become one, transforming into a single sword. No matter who comes, it's just a single sword. It's like splitting the heavens and splitting the earth, just a single move, and the enemy won't be able to defend against it. 7th Mei Yu sighed. His sword techniques have already reached such a level. I have a feeling that he should be able to grasp the Grade 1 deity heart, the split the heavens deity heart, at any time. An expert, Donghua Shui Ying nodded. Although he was ranked higher than him in the ranking battles, he was probably only slightly better than him. Perhaps it was because of his time immemorial body. He had to admit that his world deity heart far surpassed his opponents. His world deity heart was definitely far superior to his opponents. Over the years, his world deity heart had already begun to form a secret technique. However, his chaotic whole deity heart was still slightly inferior to Drunk Guest split the heavens deity heart. The contrast was very strong. After seeing him shatter the fierce shaman warrior with the flat of his sword during the Starfield selections, I thought that he specialized in strength as well. But now, it seems that his sword techniques are even more terrifying. Donghua Shui Ying had to admit that if they were to fight on the arena, it would be hard to say who would emerge victorious. Soon, the third match began. In the third match, Jiushi, who was ranked third, was going to fight. Jiushi was different from Donghua Shui Ying and Drunk Guest. Donghua Shui Ying and Drunk Guest hadn't cultivated for a long time, but Jiushi had cultivated for more than 5 million years. Too powerful. This is simply, he seems to be even stronger than Donghua and Drunk Guest. The moment Jiushi made his move, the countless spectators went into an uproar. Donghua Shui Ying and 7th Mei Yu were also shocked. Because as Jiushi stood there, the entire arena was filled with countless Jiushis the moment the battle began, each of them waving their palms furiously. With just a single palm strike, countless Jiushis slashed downwards, and the area where the opponent was located was instantly annihilated. This included the opponent who didn't even have the time to admit defeat. Jiushi's white hair, white clothes, and white eyebrows fluttered in the wind. Standing on the arena, he looked down at Donghua Shui Ying and Drunk Guest and grinned. First place in the ranking battles, but that didn't mean that his strength was number one. Chapter 456. Standing on the stage, Jiushi was looking at Donghua Shui Ying and Drunk Guest. That faint smile on his face was enough to make anyone feel that he was provoking them. Brother Donghua, drunk guest, did not provoke him earlier, but this Jiushi took the initiative to do so, 7th Meiyu said from the side. And from the looks of it, he's quite arrogant as well. Donghua Shuang nodded. Arrogance and arrogance were nothing. Those who were truly talented and powerful were all prideful to the core. On the surface, Donghua Shuang treated everyone with modesty, but deep down, he was just as prideful. Donghua Shuang did not care about his opponent's arrogance. What he cared about was his opponent's strength. How powerful, Donghua Shuang thought to himself. That move just now seemed to be everywhere. Furthermore, it was so powerful that it could destroy an entire region. That deity ranked in the top 1,000 didn't even have the time to escape. I wonder what will happen if I fight him. Donghua Shuang was filled with anticipation. It's just that it's impossible for me to fight him in the arena battle. In the prefectural selections, for example, the top 10, it was impossible for them to kill each other. That was because the Kamsi prefecture wanted to select the strongest 100. He's provoking me, but it's a pity that I won't be able to fight him in the arena battle, Donghua Shuang said. It's impossible for you to fight him in the arena battle, but the final survival battle will determine your ranking. 7th Meiyu laughed from the side. You took first place in the ranking battle. Don't let them surpass you in the final survival battle. Donghua Shuang laughed. It was no wonder that Jiushi was provoking him. It seemed like he was aiming for the survival battle. Following that, the battles became more and more intense as the battle progressed, as the disparity in strength between the participants became smaller and smaller. However, it was no longer as threatening as Jiushi and Drunk Guest had been to Donghua Shuang, even if it was 7th Meiyu. Although Donghua Shuang was shocked, he didn't feel too threatened. The main reason was that the fight had been too quick, and 7th Meiyu had only used 2 moves before her opponent had admitted defeat. Thus, 7th Meiyu's swordsmanship hadn't been fully displayed yet. After all, 7th Meiyu did not specialize in instantaneous bursts of powerful killing moves. She was more proficient in prolonged battles. The top 500 have been decided. The first match of the second batch of the arena battles, Donghua versus Wu Yong. The second batch began. He had just entered the arena. Wu Yong shouted, "I admit defeat." Later on, when Drunk Guest stepped onto the stage, his opponent similarly shouted surrender. When Jiushi stepped onto the stage, it was the same. He immediately surrendered even before the fight began. In the first batch, the top few had shocked the others. They all understood that the gap was too big and there was no hope. It was better for them to admit defeat. He didn't want to lose his life before he could even admit defeat. On the high platform, the Kamsi prefecture master, Monarch Mo Shui, and the others were all watching the matches. Although there were more than 10 powerful existences, protector disciples, and inner disciples participating, the most dazzling ones were the top 3, Donghua, Drunk Guest, and Jiushi. For instance, Zhang Xiao was only ranked 27th in the ranking battles. Although his ranking wasn't bad, he couldn't compare to the top 3. That Jiushi didn't reveal his full strength during the ranking battles. The White Sand City Lord was slightly startled. He didn't use that secret skill during the ranking battles. King Ronghai nodded. It's just the ranking battles. This Jiushi is too confident, so he didn't use any of his killing moves. Even so, he still ranked 3rd. The yellow-robed, venomous, Ing-world deity chuckled. Now that he's discovered that there are 2 people ranked higher than him, he naturally has to reveal some of his moves. In my opinion, this Jiushi is the strongest one. Drunk Guest is the personal disciple of a powerful existence, and his strength is similarly unfathomable. From the looks of it, he can grasp a grade 1 deity heart at any moment. On the contrary, this Donghua is slightly weaker. Marshal Qin indifferently said, "You have some enmity with that Donghua, so you're deliberately targeting him?" Targeting? The venomous Ing-world deity sneered. Is he worthy? Venomous Ing, if Donghua is number 1, then he's number 1. The White Sand City Lord laughed. No matter what you say, he'll still be number 1 in the ranking battles. Then do you dare to make a bet? I've already said that in the survival battles, this Donghua definitely won't be number one. He might not even be number two. The venomous Ing-world deity sneered. The White Sand City Lord shook his head. Bet? Why would I bet? The rules of the ranking battles and the survival battles are different, and nobody can predict the final rankings. It's normal for Dongbua to not be number one. You're not confident? The venomous Ing-world deity sneered. Are you confident? Do you dare say that drunk guest will definitely be number one? Or that Jiushi will definitely be number one? The White Sand City Lord retorted. The venomous Ing-world deity was stunned. According to historical experience, as long as the difference in power between the top three was not too obvious, they would definitely be number one in the survival battles. Even the fourth, fifth, and sixth could be extremely proficient in the survival battles and rush to first place. Thus, the probability of any one of them being number one did not exceed 30%. Betting on who would be number one naturally meant that the chances of winning were very low. The White Sand City Lord was not willing to bet. The venomous Ing-world deity was not willing to bet either. No matter how much you say, you still have no confidence against Dongbua. The yellow-robed, venomous Ing-world deity shook her head as she looked at the arena. The White Sand City Lord stroked his beard. He could feel that the venomous Ing-world deity was targeting him. He grinned. That's fine. I won quite a bit from my previous bet. Then I'll be the banker, betting on Dongbua to be number one in the survival battles, 1-1. Dongbua to be number two in the survival battles, 1-2. Dongbua to be number three and beyond, 1-5. The upper limit is 10 million deity crystals. What boldness! Old Brother White Sand, you're really daring. You're that confident? Marshal Qin, King Ronghai, the emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace, the Ink Cloud City Lord, and the venomous Ing World deity all looked at the White Sand City Lord. This bet was too confident. If Dongbua was number one, the odds would be 1-1. This meant that no matter how much others bet, they would still have to pay the same amount. The moment they lost, they would lose everything. Thus, no one would be foolish enough to bet on him. The odd for number two, 1-2, was considered normal. The odds for number three and beyond, 1-5, were astonishing. White Sand, you're just sending yourself to death. The venomous Ing-world deity sneered. Why are you so confident? The bet is right here. If you have the ability, then go ahead and bet. The White Sand City Lord looked at her. Rest assured, I'll satisfy you. The venomous Ing-world deity had been suppressed during the banquet, and she had long been in a bad mood. Naturally, she would take this chance to earn some money. Haha, old Brother White Sand, since you're opening such a bet, we'll have to take this chance to act. King Ronghai laughed. If Dongbua is number two, I'll bet 5 million deity crystals. If Dongbua is number three and beyond, I'll bet 5 million deity crystals as well. TSK. If he's number two, I'll break even. If he's number three and beyond, I'll earn 15 million deity crystals. As long as he's not number one, I won't lose anything. Who said that Ronghai's brain isn't good? The Ink Cloud City Lord laughed. As long as he's not number one, he won't lose anything. In fact, he might even earn a lot. Brother White Sand, you've earned quite a bit before. I'll do the same as Brother Ronghai. Me too. Marshal Qin was all smiles. Me too. The emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace stood by the side. The White Sand City Lord glared. You guys are truly ruthless. The four of them placed the same bet. Second, 5 million deity crystals. Third and beyond, 5 million deity crystals. You guys are too careful. I'll bet on the last one. Third, or even lower. The venomous Ing-world deity sneered. 10 million deity crystals. If you lose, you have to pay me 50 million deity crystals. The upper limit was 10 million deity crystals. The venomous Ing-world deity placed all her bets on the last one. Don't be a sore loser when the time comes. The venomous Ing-world deity sneered. Even a stage 3 world deity would feel the pinch if they had to fork out 50 million deity crystals. Dongbua is number one. I'll kill them all. The White Sand City Lord shot a glance at the venomous Ing-world deity before turning to the others. Last time I killed them all. This time might be the same. The survival battle. The rules are different. It's hard to say. The Ink Cloud City Lord laughed. The few of them had all seen the ranking battles, and they all believed that while Dongbua Shui specialized in survival battles, he was not the best. Monarch Imo, Shui, and the Calm Sea Prefecture Master could only laugh at this scene. I'm afraid that the White Sand City Lord will suffer a loss this time, the Calm Sea Prefecture Master transmitted. Amen. They've all misjudged him. Monarch Imo Shui nodded. Soon, the first 2 rounds of the arena battles came to an end, and the top 250 deities were chosen. The arena battles had resulted in 96 deity experts dying on the arena. The arena battles have come to an end. 3 years from now, the final survival battle will be held. The final 100 deities will represent the Calm Sea Prefecture to the Bloodshed God Palace. The emissary announced. Chapter 457. The arena battles came to an end. Under the order of the legionnaires, the spectators began to leave. The white-haired, white-robed, white-browed Joshi stood up and glanced at Dongbua Shui Ying and drunk guests before leaving with a smile. He seems very confident. 7th Mei Yu and Dongbua Shui Ying walk side by side. Is he confident that he can beat you in drunk guest? When the survival battles are over and the rankings are out, everything will be revealed. Dongbua Shui Ying said calmly. Although she seemed to be provoking him, Dongbua Shui Ying remained calm. He did not place much importance on first place. Wouldn't it be fine as long as he could participate in the Bloodshed God Palace battle? He would wait until he reached the Bloodshed God Palace before exerting his strength. As for the survival battles, there was no need to put in too much effort. He had only cultivated for 2,000 years, so what was there to compete with someone like Joshi, who had cultivated for more than 5 million years? The crowd dispersed. Dongbua Shui Ying quickly met up with Jing Xiu and the rest. Patrol Master Guan and the rest also came to congratulate them on the way, and they soon returned to their cave abode. Just as he entered the cave, he sat down and poured himself some tea. Dongbua. A voice came from outside. Dongbua Shui Ying hurriedly stood up and went to the door to welcome him. When the door opened, a chubby white-robed man stood outside, the White Sand City Lord. Big brother, why are you here? Dongbua Shui Ying was surprised. Please come in, come in. The White Sand City Lord walked in with a smile. When he saw Jing Xiu, he said, Sister-in-law, I have some matters to discuss with Dongbua. You don't have to worry about us. Yes, big brother. Jing Xiu smiled and walked to the side. Dongbua. The White Sand City Lord pulled Dongbua Shui Ying to the side and sat down. He picked up a cup of tea from the table and took a sip before saying, Do you remember what I told you before? I have a gift for you after the prefecture battles are over. Yes. Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. The White Sand City Lord chuckled. Although the prefecture capital battle has yet to end, you will definitely be able to participate in the Bloodshed God Palace battle. So, it doesn't make a difference whether you give it to me now or in the future. Take a look. As he spoke, he flipped his hand, and a dark brown crystal bottle appeared. He pulled out the stopper. Immediately, a faint aroma filled the air. This is? Dongbua Shui Ying was taken aback, but he already knew what it was. This was a rare treasure of the God world, the stone flower cold cloud dew. The value of this bottle was estimated to be around 2 million deity crystals. This left Dongbua Shui Ying speechless. One must know that the gift given by the second prince was only worth 100,000 god crystals. 2 million divine crystals. This was more than all the treasures of an ordinary stage one-world deity. Although he was the master of Crimson Rock Mountain and didn't care about this, his big brother was too generous. This big brother of his was powerful, but why was he so generous? This is the stone flower cold cloud dew. You might not have heard of it, but you'll know in the future. The White Sand City Lord smiled. Take it. Although it's a treasure, it's nothing to me. I've heard of it before. It's worth 2 million deity crystals, right? Dongbua Shui Ying asked. The White Sand City Lord was startled. He had heard of it. A deity actually knew of the stone flower cold cloud dew. He even knew the approximate price. It's too expensive. I can't accept it, Dongbo Shuang said. Ha! During your ranking battle, the Calm Sea Prefecture Master, Monarch Mo Shui, and the others were all interested and made a bet. I bet on you, and in the end I won. The White Sand City Lord smiled proudly. Although the Calm Sea Prefecture Master and Monarch Mo Shui didn't care about it, the value of the treasures they took out was far above this bottle of stone flower cold cloud dew. Thus, I've already earned a lot. Yours is nothing. In a bet, there are always wins and losses. Big Brother being able to win is due to Big Brother's strength. Dongbua Shuang added, this is truly too expensive. The White Sand City Lord was speechless. He had a straightforward nature, and sometimes he would act according to his instincts. Back then, he had secretly eaten His Majesty Bloodblade's world's sandheart fruit because he desired to eat it. It was only after eating it that he became afraid. He felt that he had earned too much from his previous bet on Dongbua Shuang. Taking out a little to give to his brother was nothing. You're really, the White Sand City Lord helplessly said, I won't hide it from you. During the arena battles, the venomous Ying world deity kept targeting me, so I set up a bet. I bet on your ranking in the survival battle. If you can get first place, I'll kill you all. If you can get second place, then it's fine. But if you can get third or lower, then I'll be in deep trouble. If it was third or lower, the venomous Ying world deity would earn 40 million deity crystals, while King Rong Hai and the other 3 would each earn 15 million deity crystals. The 5 of them added up to a total of 100 million deity crystals. This was a huge pressure on the White Sand City Lord. Dongbua Shuang was speechless. Big Brother, is there a need for this? I just can't stand the sight of that venomous Ying. The White Sand City Lord said, how delightful it is to do things according to your heart. All right, hurry up and use it. With the stone flower cold cloud dew, you might even be able to increase your strength over the next 3 years. Let's not talk anymore. I'm leaving. AI. Dongbua Shuang still wanted to shout. However, the White Sand City Lord had already disappeared into the horizon with a flash. Dongbua Shuang looked at the dark brown crystal bottle on the table and muttered, I didn't think I'd have to use it so soon. Crimson Rock Mountain also contained many rare treasures. Dongbua Shuang had originally planned to temper himself during the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast and then become a disciple of a powerful existence. After receiving the guidance of a powerful existence, he would then bitterly comprehend and reach a bottleneck. He would then return to his hometown and consume some rare treasures at Crimson Rock Mountain. Dongbua Shuang could feel that his progress in the Black Hole Deity Heart was very slow, but at the very least, he was making some progress in his comprehension. His secret skill was also slowly being perfected. Using it now would be a waste. Since Big Brother White Sand has set up such a huge bet, I naturally have to do my best. Dongbua Shuang picked up the dark brown crystal bottle. During the ranking battle, Dongbua Shuang had gone all out, but it could not be considered as him going all out. Originally, during the survival battle, Dongbua Shuang was not willing to go all out. But now he had changed his mind. Even if he had to help White Sand win the bet, he had to go all out. Goo. Within the cultivation room, Shuang grabbed the brownish-black crystal bottle and drank 2 mouthfuls of it. The cool feeling spread throughout his body, and his soul became much more ethereal. Shuang's thinking and deduction speed was originally very fast, but at this moment, as he looked around him, everything around him, including time and space, was under his observation. His mind was constantly flashing with inspiration, and many puzzles were being deduced at an extremely high efficiency, allowing him to quickly understand them. Dongbua Shuang had always felt that rare treasures should only be used at crucial moments. But since he was helping Big Brother White Sand, he might as well use it, one secret skill after another. Dongbua Shuang continued to perfect it. His true body, far away in his hometown, was also helping to perfect the secret skill. No matter what, in the survival battle, other than not using a Grade 1 deity heart, he had to go all out. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. The Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast, the final survival battle of the Calm Sea Prefecture, was about to begin. In this final survival battle, the top 100 would be chosen from the 250 talented deities to be sent to the Bloodshed God Palace. Although the previous arena battles were not bad, the strongest few were not able to display their true strength. They all ended in one or two moves, and some even admitted defeat. Right. Especially the top 3, they won too quickly. They will definitely put in more effort in this survival battle. And it will be open to the public, so we can watch. Take a good look at the true peak of the deities and see what kind of strength they can display. Chariots were being pulled in the sky, flying across the sky. Many army soldiers rushed over from all directions, and many ordinary deities walked on the ground, not daring to fly. But they were all looking forward to it. Many of them came to watch the battle, and just the teleportation fee alone was very high. But for a grand event that they might only be able to see once or twice in their lifetime, they were willing to give it their all. It was true that they could only see it once or twice in their lifetime. Because the deity world was extremely cruel, many deities died early in the battles. For example, most of the deities of the Xia people had died early on. As more and more deities rushed over to watch, the army soldiers in charge of maintaining order began to shout. Anyone who dared to break the order would be beaten. After a long time, the Kamsi prefecture master, Monarch Emo Shui, and the rest arrived one by one. Dongbua, Shui, Ying, and the other 250 deities also arrived. Phew! Under the gazes of the countless deities, the emissary waved his hand, and streams of light flew into the sky. 250 streams of light flew high into the sky, then stopped. They were all giant spheres. A total of 250 spheres floated in the sky, some high, some low. Prefecture Master, can the survival battle begin? The emissary asked. Yes. The Kamsi Prefecture Master nodded. Only then did the emissary turn around and look at the countless deities in front of him. In a clear voice, he said, during the Myriad Flower Feast, the Kamsi Prefecture will select the final 100 deities to enter the Bloodshed God Palace. The survival battle is very simple. The longer you survive in the cage, the higher your ranking will be. The one who survives the longest will be ranked first. Go on in. He waved his hand. An invisible force immediately enveloped everyone below, sweeping them up. Dongbua, Shui, Ying, 7th Meiyu, and the rest were all sent flying uncontrollably into the sky, each of them flying toward the spherical cage. Chapter 458. The Spherical Cage. Dongbua, Shui, Ying could only watch as the cage grew larger and larger in his field of vision. Finally, his body collided with the cage, and he easily entered it. Dongbua, Shui, Ying observed the cage carefully. It was about 5,000 kilometers wide, and within that area was a flat ground with countless black streams of light moving about. This survival battle is really open to everyone. Everyone can see it clearly. Shui Ying looked outside through the transparent walls of the cage. With a glance, he could see the countless spectators gathered below, as well as the many spherical cages of various heights. Every single one of these cages contained a deity expert overflowing with talent. There is no need to explain the rules of the survival battle. On the high platform below, the emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace announced, "If you can't hold on, give up as soon as possible. Don't throw your life away. The last 100 survivors will be the top 100 in the survival battle. Begin," the emissary said coldly. Buzz, the black streams of light within each of the more than 200 spherical cages in the sky began to condense into a monster. The countless spectators below watched attentively, paying close attention to the top 10, especially the most famous ones, Dongbua, Drunk Guest, and Jiushi. After all, it was rare to encounter such a deity expert. Dongbua, Shui Ying calmly stood on the flat ground within the cage, his right hand holding a spear. At this moment, the black streams of light on the ground began to converge, and beast-like monsters began to appear in different locations. Every single one of them was covered in black scales, and some were land beasts, while others were flying beasts. 10 beasts appeared in different locations within the cage, and their gazes fell on Dongbua Shui in the moment they appeared. Hiss, ho! The beasts exchanged glances and communicated with each other. Although they were all form-type life forms, they possessed considerable intelligence. It must be known that the puppets refined by transcendence all possessed intelligence. Although form-type life forms formed faster, this cage had been personally refined by a stage 4-world deity for the Bloodshed God Palace's myriad flower feast. The 10 beasts were in different locations, but none of them were in a hurry to attack. You won't make a move, but I can't drag this on. Dongbua Shui shook his head, and with a thought, a starry blue-robed Dongbua Shui appeared out of thin air, wielding a fiery red spear. With a flick of his hand, the spear streaked across the sky, causing the surrounding darkness to collapse. With lightning speed, the spear struck a black-scaled beast, sending it tumbling backwards. Blood seeped out of its mouth and nose, but this kind of injury was nothing to it. What? Shuang was startled. The time immemorial body strength was used to display the chaotic suppression, yet it still couldn't kill it? And this is only the beginning of the survival battle. What was a battle for survival? In the battle for survival, a mutated beast would be born every second. Beasts would be born continuously. If the speed of killing couldn't keep up with the rate at which exotic beasts were born, it would cause the number of exotic beasts to increase, and the newly born exotic beasts would also become stronger and stronger, so the situation would only worsen. The best way was to kill as many as possible. Kill with all your might. Break. With a thought, Dongbua Shui activated his spear technique. The distant mirage body once again used its spear technique, but this time it used the great chaotic true force. This was already the maximum power that Dongbua Shui could unleash. Everywhere the spear passed, everything would collapse into darkness. With a pong, the spear swept across the black-scaled exotic beasts, causing them to explode and turn back into black energy that returned to the ground. And here I was wondering how strong my body would be. Shuang laughed. His true body stood there, not moving at all. His mirage body was rapidly traversing through the various locations, rapidly killing the beasts. In a single breath, all 10 mutated beasts were swept clean. After a short rest, the black energy on the ground once again gathered to form a new black-scaled exotic beast. Although its strength had increased slightly, it was still killed with a single sweep of the spear. Next, he had to wait for a breath's time. Thus, Dongbua Shui appeared to be very relaxed. He waited leisurely for a breath's time. Then his mirage body would kill his opponent with a single move. Dongbua, Drunk Guest, and Jiushi. The three of them are really relaxed. The countless spectators below could clearly see the battle taking place in each of the spherical cages. Dongbua is using his mirage body, which has the same strength as his main body. Moreover, even if it is destroyed, it can instantly reform again. It's a very powerful technique. Dongbua's strength is too strong. These exotic beasts are much stronger than the fierce shaman warrior, but in front of Dongbua, they were all killed with a single sweep of the spear without being able to resist at all. Drunk Guest is also very powerful. He just stood there without moving. With just a swing of his sword, the sword light swept across thousands of miles, and those black-scaled exotic beasts were all sliced into pieces. Jiushi didn't even use a weapon. With just a swing of his palm, a black-scaled exotic beast was smashed into pieces. The spectators were all amazed. They were very clear that it was not that the exotic beasts were weak, but rather that Dongbua and the other two were too strong. This was because even among the experts ranked in the top 250, those who were slightly behind were having a hard time fighting. The defense of the black-scaled exotic beasts was truly too strong, and killing one of them was extremely strenuous. Ordinary low-level world deities would only be able to injure the black-scaled exotic beasts, and they would have to go all out just to barely kill one. I admit defeat. Just the time it took to brew a cup of tea had passed since the start of the survival battle, and a deity expert had already admitted defeat. He was directly expelled into the air. He glanced around and saw that all the other deities in the cages were still fighting. He was the first to give up. Sigh. The burly man shook his head and sighed. The defense of the black-scaled exotic beasts is too strong. Killing them is too difficult, and their numbers are only increasing. If they surround us, I really can't hold on. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Very quickly, more and more people admitted defeat. Everyone knew that the majority of them were still fighting, and they could no longer hold on. Even if they did, it would be impossible for them to remain in the top 100. Thus, survival was naturally more important. Finally, a voice reverberated throughout the world. 200 left. The Bloodshed God Palace's emissary announced. Many of the deities fighting in the spherical cages felt helpless. 200 left? It would be too difficult for them to reach the top 100. 190. 180. The Bloodshed God Palace's emissary would shout out every once in a while. In truth, even if he didn't announce it publicly, the countless spectators below could still see the situation and know how many deities were left. They could also inform their friends and companions who were fighting. 170. 160. The deities gave up one by one. Not a single one of them had died. Since they were still far from the top 100, everyone felt that they could not hold on any longer, so they decided to give up. As the number of deities continued to decrease, 110. Following the Bloodshed God Palace's emissary's voice, the deities who were still fighting felt their hearts tighten. Soon, another 10 would be eliminated, and only 100 would be left. At the final moment, those who can make it to the top 100 will head to the Bloodshed God Palace. Of course, you all have to take care of your lives. The Bloodshed God Palace's emissary watched everything coldly. At this moment, the death rate was the highest. The deities who were already feeling the strain were even more frantic. The top 100. There was a fundamental difference between the top 100 and the top 101. The top 100 would be able to head to the Bloodshed God Palace. At that time, their future would be completely different. They were already fighting with their lives on the line. 109. The Bloodshed God Palace's emissary had personally witnessed a deity expert being torn to shreds by the black-scaled, mutated beasts. He was already used to it. At this final moment, the death rate was extremely high. Star. Chapter 459. 108. 107. 106. Following the resounding voice of the emissary, quite a few deity experts were doing their best to hold on. Actually, there was a gap of 30 ranks between the 80th and the 110th. However, the gap in combat power was not that big. Many deity experts had already reached a point where it was extremely strenuous, and they were doing their best to stall for time. Some relied on speed, some relied on combat, and some relied on illusions. However, those mutated beasts were similarly moving through the void, walking in the shadows, and attacking in large groups. 103. 102. Soon. Hold on. We have to hold on. Many deity experts were already injured. 100 has been born. The voice of the emissary was finally filled with joy. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. When the emissary announced the birth of the top 100, those deity experts who were barely holding on immediately admitted defeat and were expelled from the spherical cage. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 deity experts had come out. However, those who came out at the last moment all revealed looks of joy. That was because they had all held on. Just a bit more, just a bit more. That was the white-haired old man ranked 101. His body had been split into two and condensed in midair, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Why did I not hold on just a bit more? I lost. I did not enter the top 100. There were quite a few who had failed by a bit, and they were all filled with regret. As for those who had succeeded in landing, they were all filled with joy. Congratulations, congratulations. Ha ha. Brotherly, when the time comes, we will head to the Bloodshed God Palace together. The Bloodshed God Palace battle is the safest. If you are lucky, you can even become a disciple of a powerful existence. Those who were about to participate in the Bloodshed God Palace battle were all very happy. Of the Starfield selections, the Prefecture City Selections, and the Bloodshed God Palace Battle. The Bloodshed God Palace Battle was the safest. It was impossible for any casualties to occur. Furthermore, there were many opportunities to participate in the Bloodshed God Palace Battle. Becoming a disciple of a powerful existence? Becoming a disciple of a stage four-world deity? Obtaining a high rank in the Bloodshed God Palace? Entering the Bloodshed Tavern? Participating in the Bloodshed God Palace battle represented one's identity. Even if one was lacking, one could directly obtain the 10th rank in the Bloodshed God Palace. What did the 10th level represent? For example, the generals of the Garrison Legion and the Patrol Legion were usually only at the 9th grade. 10th tier, at the very least, he was a deputy general. Even in a rank 3 legion, he was only second to one person. On the high platform, Monarch Mo Shui and the Comsi Prefecture Master both had smiles on their faces. The top 100 from the Comsi Prefecture who will be heading to the Bloodshed God Palace this time has been decided. Monarch Mo Shui stroked his snow-white beard and chuckled. Seems like it's not bad. That brat called Drunk Guest. His sword technique already has the charm of the split heaven deity heart. With his self-created sword technique reaching this stage, I estimate that he'll be able to grasp the grade 1 deity heart, split heaven deity heart, within 1 or 2 days, or at most 1,000 years. As expected of Duke Yu's personal disciple, the Comsi Prefecture Master nodded in praise. You've only cultivated for 20,000 years, yet your talent is already not bad. There is still a difference between a grade 1 deity heart in 10,000 years and a grade 1 deity heart in 20,000 years. But at least the gap between them wasn't too big. That Donghua isn't bad either, Monarch Mo Shui said. But he seems to have learned quite a variety of things, with at least 4 grade 2 deity hearts, of which his star deity heart and mirage deity heart seem to have reached the peak of the deity realm, with the great chaotic true force and time immemorial body both reaching the peak of the deity realm. His extreme piercing deity heart and space deity heart seem to be slightly weaker. But no matter which one it is, they're still somewhat lacking compared to that drunk guest brat. Amen, he's still quite a distance away from grasping a grade 1 deity heart. The Comsi Prefecture Master nodded in agreement. That Jiushi is the strongest. Monarch Mo Shui laughed. It's a pity that he's cultivated for close to 6 million years. That's too long. The Comsi Prefecture Master nodded. In terms of strength, Jiushi is the strongest. But in the eyes of powerful existences, I'm afraid that Donghua is still the one they like the most. Donghua is too young. He's only cultivated for 2,000 years, yet he's already reached such a high level in 4 grade 2 deity hearts. Furthermore, one could see with a single glance that the secret skill he used had some laughable mistakes. He definitely hasn't received any pointers from a powerful existence, or even a stage 4-world deity. Amen. Without any pointers, he cultivated for 2,000 years and reached such a high level in 4 grade 2 deity hearts. Monarch Mo Shui nodded. The moment he receives pointers, he'll definitely improve greatly. If I were to accept a disciple, I'd definitely choose Donghua. Naturally, the Comsi Prefecture Master nodded. Jiushi is the strongest, while Donghua has the highest potential. What do you think of the top 3 in this survival battle? Monarch Mo Shui asked. Jiushi is undoubtedly the strongest, followed by Drunk Guest and Donghua. Drunk Guest's offensive power is stronger, and his secret skill is more perfect. He's only slightly weaker when it comes to survival. Donghua's mastery is more complex, and he's good at survival, but his offensive power is slightly weaker. The Comsi Prefecture Master said. Drunk Guest should be the second, and Donghua should be the third. Monarch Mo Shui nodded in agreement. With their insight, they could see many things from the secret skills displayed, and they could determine that Donghua Shui had not received any pointers from a powerful existence. Naturally, it was easy for them to deduce the outcome of the battle. Haha, Monarch Mo Shui laughed. I agree with you, but that little rat who steals food, I'm afraid he's going to lose miserably this time. The Comsi Prefecture Master laughed as well. That little rat. Last time, he killed everyone and earned all the treasures we took out. This time, he wants to kill everyone, but it's a pity he's going to lose all of them. The White Sand City Lord, Marshal Qin, Ink Cloud City Lord, Venomous Ying World Deity, King Rong Hai, and the Bloodshed God Palace Emissary were completely unaware of the conversation between Monarch Mo Shui and the Kamsi Prefecture Master. The six of them were rather excited as they watched the battle. After all, this involved a huge gamble. 30 remaining. The Bloodshed God Palace Emissary shouted. The Bloodshed God Palace Emissary said loudly before turning to his companion beside him. Old Brother White Sand, did you see that? How formidable is Jioshi's strength? Drunk Guest sword techniques are also very formidable. After all, he is the personal disciple of Gongyu, and after being trained by Gongyu, TSK. Just this sword technique's secret skill alone is enough to surpass Donghua. Donghua will most likely end up in third place. The yellow-robed, venomous Ying World Deity felt even more confident as she watched the battle unfold in the spherical cage. She glanced at the White Sand City Lord and said, "Big Brother White Sand, remember 1-5 odds. Don't be complacent until the very end." The White Sand City Lord stroked his beard, though his heart was faintly trembling. Old Brother Donghua is still too young. It seems he'll be the first to lose. Drunk Guest was garbed in a green robe. He walked within the cage while wielding a sword in one hand. As he walked, his entire body was akin to a sword that could split the heavens and earth apart, piercing through everything in an instant. Every step he took brought him to the side of a mutated beast. With a swing of his sword, he sliced the beast in half. His sword techniques were too simple. Regardless of whether it was a chop, a slice, a horizontal slice, or a slash, they all seemed to be extremely simple. Yet they possessed a might that could split the heavens and earth apart. There was no way to block them. His sword techniques seemed to be extremely simple, yet they were also extremely perfect. Clearly, he had already displayed the laws of profound mysteries to the pinnacle, and he could grasp a true Grade 1 deity heart at any time. A white-robed, white-haired man with white eyebrows fluttering in the wind. His long, narrow eyes contained a trace of indifference and arrogance. Countless white-robed, white-haired men appeared within the spherical cage. He stood at every corner of the cage, and as soon as a mutated beast appeared, all of his clones would send out a palm strike, directly shattering the beast into pieces. Now, there were less than 30 left, yet he could still kill them all in one move. At this point, only Drunk Guest and She were still capable of killing them in one move. If Shui Ying had used his strongest and most penetrative move, the Star Meteor Annihilation, he might have been able to kill his opponent in a single move. However, he was more focused on using his chaotic suppression while barely matching it with some of his other spear techniques. He was clearly treating this survival battle as a rare opportunity to temper himself. He was working hard to hone his chaotic suppression secret skill so that he could grasp the chaotic deity heart as soon as possible. With his spear techniques, he would then use the extreme piercing secret skill, Stellaris, to kill the mutated beasts. The secret skill, Stellaris, combined with the great chaotic true force, had an extremely high penetrative power, capable of piercing through the mutated beasts. Occasionally, he would use the Star Meteor Annihilation. There are still more than 20. Donghua Shui Ying sighed inwardly. I really can't look down on them. Chapter 460. For Big Brother White Sand's bet, I have to give it my all. Although Donghua Shui Ying was training his secret art, he was also trying to kill the black-scaled mutated beasts as fast as he could. Whenever one appeared, he would kill it immediately. These mutated beasts are getting stronger and stronger. My other secret arts are no longer effective against them. I have to use Star Meteor Annihilation. Even his extreme piercing secret art, Star Cluster, was barely able to pierce a hole. His chaotic suppression could only cause them to vomit blood. However, these injuries were too light. It would probably take him 2 to 3 breaths of time to kill a mutated beast with his mirage body. Too slow. He had to rely on star meteor annihilation. Dongbua Shui Ying used his spear techniques and star meteor annihilation to barely maintain his efficiency. Could it be that I can't enter the top 20? Zhang Zhao's ugly face was filled with unwillingness. His figure was like a ghost as he circled around a black-scaled, mutated beast. Two demonic, blood-colored saber lights slashed at its body, barely leaving a small wound. However, these small wounds were instantly healed. No matter how he attacked, he could no longer kill another mutated beast. Every breath of time, another mutated beast would appear. Currently, there were a total of 3 mutated beasts surrounding him. Zhang Xiao was having a hard time dealing with them. Master, there are still 26 of them inside. Zhang Xiao received a message from his servant. However, he was unwilling to give up. During the ranking battle, he was ranked 27th, which made him very proud. Thus, he was even more desperate this time. For mutated beasts, 5 mutated beasts. All of them had come to surround him. Zhang Xiao was like a stray dog that had lost its master. He desperately tried to escape. However, these mutated beasts were all proficient in different laws of profound mysteries. They could travel through the void and even use hallucinatory techniques to surround him. Master, there are still 25 left. I admit defeat. Zhang Xiao finally gave up resisting. South. His entire body was expelled from the spherical cage. In midair, a wound could be seen on his chest. The wound had already healed. He raised his head and looked at the floating spherical cages around him. This time, I've already risked my life, but I'm only ranked 25th. There are indeed many experts within the Calm Sea Prefecture, and even though I'm an inner disciple of a powerful existence, I'm nothing much. I'm not even in the top 10. He descended. Countless spectators were extremely excited at this moment, and they were all discussing spiritedly, because the further they went, the more exciting it would be. Those at the very front were all fighting with their lives on the line. 20, the emissary said calmly. 10. The Bloodshed God Palace's emissary's voice was clearly much louder, and it reverberated throughout the world like a clap of thunder. 9. 8. At this moment, 7th May, Yu was in a frenzied state. Inside the cage, the petals fluttered and floated around the entire spherical cage. When they came into contact with the black-scaled exotic beasts, they exploded with a powerful force. As for the white-robed 7th May Yu, his swordsmanship was incomparably elegant. His figure was so fast that he left behind a series of afterimages. Each of these afterimages circled around a mutated beast, and the sword light landed on the mutated beast again and again. As the power of the sword light increased, its power grew stronger and stronger. It was unknown how many swords had fallen into the countless sword lights. It was as if the mutated beast had been trapped in a trap, unable to break free no matter how hard it struggled. Finally, the body of the mutated beast was sliced apart and dissipated. However, the number of mutated beasts around him had already increased to 3, and in just a breath's time, there were 4. Looks like I can't hold on any longer. 7th Mayu used her movement technique to avoid the other mutated beasts and focus on one. However, as the number of mutated beasts increased, it became more and more difficult for him to fight. He was even forced to defend himself and was unable to kill any more mutated beasts. Very quickly, 5 mutated beasts surrounded 7th Mayu, each of them extremely powerful. I admit defeat. 7th Mayu finally admitted defeat. When he admitted defeat, he was ranked 7th in this survival battle. Her Highness Mayu's movement technique is extremely powerful, giving her an advantage in this survival battle. Her sword technique is a perfect set of secret techniques. She is also proficient in both escaping and defending. The Ink Cloud City Lord raised his head to look at 7th Mayu, who had already been expelled from the cage, as well as the 6 other ball-shaped cages that were still fighting. To be ranked 7th, that's not bad. Her Highness Mayu tends to be more balanced, and her killing moves are slightly weaker. The emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace commented with a smile. Old Brother White Sand, the situation is becoming more and more obvious. I'm afraid that you're going to lose miserably in this gamble, King Ronghai teased. Old Brother White Sand, if you don't have enough treasures, I can postpone the 15 million deity crystals you lost to me. Shut your mouth. The White Sand City Lord nervously stroked his beard as he stared at the three strongest ball-shaped cages that were still fighting. It's not the end yet. Don't be too happy. Even an idiot can see that Dongbua is about to die. The yellow-robed, venomous Ing-world deity sneered. Big Brother White Sand, you've lost a total of 100 million deity crystals with a few of us added together. Marshal Qin looked up and nodded lightly. Dongbua should be third, Drunk Guest second, and Jiushi first. This could be seen from the battle scene. Currently, there were 6 people still fighting, and the other 3 were already in a difficult situation and could give up at any moment. Dongbua, Drunk Guest, and Jiushi could still hold on for a while longer. However, Dongua's situation was the most dangerous. He was currently relying on his mirage body to block the attacks, fleeing and fighting at the same time. In reality, it was very difficult for even his star meteor annihilation to kill a single mutated beast. At most, it could injure them. Drunk Guest was dressed in azure robes and wielding a sword with a single hand. His figure seemed to tear apart the world as he walked, and every single one of his sword strikes seemed capable of splitting the world apart. But now, every single one of the strange beasts was very powerful. Even Drunk Guest would need 2 breaths of time to kill a strange beast. Very soon, the number of mutated beasts in the cages had reached 2. It was destined that there would be even more. But at the very least, he could still kill more mutated beasts. Jiushi was still the most relaxed one. He was dressed in white robes and had white hair. His white eyebrows fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were cold and sharp. His silhouettes were scattered throughout the cage, and countless silhouettes were waving their hands at the same time. Besieging one mutated beast, the current black-scaled mutated beast was already very powerful. The black-scaled mutated beast roared and attacked Jiushi. However, the countless silhouettes of Jiushi were easily destroyed, even if they were attacked. Then, the silhouettes of Jiushi would appear in another area. The number of silhouettes of Jiushi was forever innumerable. They would always wave their palms and hack at the same time. The besieged area would be directly destroyed, but the black-scaled mutated beast would only be injured. Normally, it would take multiple simultaneous attacks before a black-scaled mutated beast would finally dissipate. However, at the very least, he could still kill one mutated beast in a single breath of time. Therefore, there would always be only one black-scaled mutated beast in the cage. She should be able to hold on for a while longer. He is the most relaxed compared to the others. The speed at which Drunk Guest kills the mutated beasts can no longer keep up with the rate at which the mutated beasts are born. It won't be long before he loses. Dongbo can no longer kill the black-scaled mutated beasts, and there are already 2 mutated beasts in his cage. He will most likely be the first to fall, the Ink Cloud City Lord evaluated. The yellow-robed, venomous Ing-world deity was even more pleased. Big Brother White Sand, you will definitely lose. He won't be able to turn the tables. It doesn't matter how strong Dongbo's defenses are. The moment he is captured alive by the mutated beasts, he will be thrown out of the cage. They all watched on. The White Sand City Lord watched on silently. He stared upward, hoping for a miracle to happen. However, deep in his heart, he felt regret. Who asked you to be so insolent? Who asked you to be so hot-headed? You thought that you would do it again after earning so much last time? In the end, Brother Dongbo has only cultivated for around 2,000 years. His cultivation time is too short, and he is at a disadvantage in this aspect. Hurry up and watch. Monarch Mo Shuel laughed as he spoke to the calm Sea Prefecture Master beside him. Look at the expression of that rat. If he loses 100 million deity crystals, his heart will ache. The calm Sea Prefecture Master shook his head with a smile. His losses are truly disastrous. Within Dongbua Shui Ying's spherical cage, at this moment, there were already 2 black-scaled mutated beasts. 2 starry blue-robed Dongbua, Shui, Ying were fleeing while simultaneously attacking a black-scaled mutated beast. His star meteor annihilation was barely able to pierce a bloody hole through the mutated beast's scales before being blocked by its muscles. Such an injury was not enough to claim the life of a mutated beast. I can't allow the number of mutated beasts to increase. Dongbua Shui glanced outside. Through the walls of the cage, he could see that there were two other spherical cages where drunk Guest and she were still fighting. I have to give it my all, Dongbua Shui thought. Suddenly, four starry blue-robed youths appeared out of thin air on the vast dark land of the cage. That's right, four. These four starry blue-robed youths each wielded a spear and were frantically attacking a black-scaled mutated beast. Pooh! 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 All four of them used their star meteor annihilation, causing the surrounding dark stars to expand and collapse into a single point. Bloody holes appeared on the black-scaled mutated beast's body, causing it to howl in pain. However, after the four Dongbua Shui Yings unleashed tens of spear strikes, the scales on the black-scaled mutated beast's back had long since been completely torn apart, revealing its bones. The four Dongbua Shui Yings all used their chaotic suppression, furiously hacking downwards. Without the protection of the black scales, the black-scaled, mutated beast's body exploded. Their strongest attacks landed on the bones on the black-scaled, mutated beast's back, causing its body to explode. How powerful were the four Dongbua Shui Ying's attacks? I really don't want to use this secret technique, Dongbua Shui Ying muttered to himself. Mirage secret technique, condensing reality. Back at Crimson Rock Mountain, Dongbua Shui Ying had created this technique when he was only at the stage 3 realm of the true meaning of Mirage. After becoming a world deity, after comprehending the Grade 1 deity heart, the world deity heart, Dongbua Shui Ying had comprehended several secret techniques of the world deity heart, including the world true body secret technique. With a single thought, he could form 8 world true bodies at the same time. If he did not use the complete profound mysteries of the world deity heart and mainly relied on the profound mysteries of Mirage, even if he was a world deity with a world deity heart, Dongbua Shui Ying could only perfect the condensing reality to the point of forming 3 Mirage bodies. First becoming a world deity and then focusing on the condensing reality would only allow him to form 3 bodies. If he wanted more, then he would have to use the complete, profound mysteries of the world deity heart. Thus, Dongbua Shui Ying felt that this was bullying. After all, the combined might of 4 was more than double that of 2. Mirage secret technique, this brat? On the high platform, even the Calm Sea Prefecture Master and Monarch Mo Shui jumped in fright. The White Sand City Lord, Ink Cloud City Lord, Venomous Ing World Deity, King Rong Hai, Marshal Qin, and the emissary were all shocked as well. For bodies? Every single one of them could display the same combat power as the true body. The Mirage secret technique can be displayed to such an extent. The Calm Sea Prefecture Master was incomparably shocked. Truly, truly formidable. The world true body secret technique, created by a world deity with a world deity heart, should at most be able to form 9 world true bodies. By relying on the Mirage secret technique, he can form a total of 3 Mirage bodies. His attainments in the Mirage have already reached an astonishing level. His attainments in the Mirage deity heart are even higher than his star deity heart. Monarch Mo Shui sighed in admiration. His star deity heart will most likely need a period of time to evolve into the chaotic deity heart. But the Mirage deity heart will most likely evolve into the world deity heart at any moment. Amen. The Calm Sea Prefecture Master nodded. We've misjudged him. So his strongest aspect is the Mirage deity heart. My head is a little tired, so I'll only take one night today. Star. Chapter 461. Within the spherical cages high up in the sky, only 3 were still battling. They were none other than Dongbua, Drunk Guest, and Jiushi. Previously, Dongbua Shui Ying was already having a hard time and was about to lose. However, suddenly, 4 Dongbua Shui Ying appeared within the spherical cages. The four Donghua, Shui, Ying worked together to unleash the star meteor annihilation, causing the black-scaled mutated beast to howl in agony. At the same time, they unleashed the chaotic suppression, causing the mutated beast's body to dissipate. With the four of them working together, the mutated beast had no way of escaping. In the blink of an eye, the cage was emptied. Wow! Donghua is too formidable. His combat power has increased by so much. The mutated beasts have all been killed. The various life forms who had rushed over to spectate the battle were all astonished by what they saw. From their point of view, the mutated beast combat power could easily kill a large group of peak stage deities, yet Shuang was still able to forcibly kill them. I heard that this Donghua has only cultivated for 2,000 years or so. How is he so powerful? My clan's ancestor bought a report. According to the report, this Donghua has only cultivated for 2,300 years or so. With such a short period of cultivation, his attainments in both the Mirage and Star Deity hearts are so high. In my opinion, he might even be able to grasp a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years. Grasping a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years? Doesn't that mean he has become a personal disciple of a powerful existence? That's hard to say. To be able to reach such a realm after cultivating for 2,000 years, he might be stuck here for tens of thousands of years. Even if he can't break through with the Star Deity heart, he should be able to break through with the Mirage Deity heart, right? In my opinion, this Donghua has a high chance of grasping a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years. Countless spectators were discussing amongst themselves. A grade 1 true, meaning transcendent? That was a legend. Who knew how many billions of years it would take for one to appear? The moment one appeared, all powerful existences would fight to take him in as a disciple. Some powerful existences would even disregard their reputation and think of ways to get rid of him as soon as possible. The second best would be to grasp a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years. Compared to grade 1 true meaning transcendence, there were slightly more of them, and powerful existences would not be so shameless as to act so viciously against them. Under normal circumstances, they would be able to cultivate to the stage 3 world deity realm, with a few even becoming stage 4 world deities. With this kind of potential, he could easily become a personal disciple of an almighty being. He was worthy of being nurtured by an almighty being. He's actually this powerful? The silver-robed General Ying, who was surrounded and protected by a group of soldiers, had an increasingly ugly expression on his face, and a crazed look could be seen in his eyes. Why? Why is it that he has only cultivated for 2,000 years, yet his Star Deity heart and Mirage Deity heart have reached such heights? What about me? Why can't I make any progress? General Ying raised his head. His vision began to distort, and his true deity heart began to tremble. Why? I can't accept this. I can't accept it. Destroy him. Destroy him. General Ying's eyes began to glow with a bloody light, and his body began to tremble. The expression of the gray-robed elder behind him changed when he saw this. He immediately reached out and grabbed General Ying, using his surging world deity energy to seal the deity energy within General Ying's body. General Ying was unable to resist, and he could not help but stare at the gray-robed elder with a savage expression. Are you courting death? General Ying has gone mad again. Bring him back. The gray-robed elder ordered the surrounding soldiers. General Ying's true deity heart was getting closer and closer to collapsing. So his aunt, the venomous Ying world deity, had long since ordered that the moment General Ying went mad, he was to be captured and brought back so as not to embarrass her in the calm sea prefecture city. Hua! The group of soldiers quickly retreated with General Ying in tow. However, among the countless spectators, General Ying's group was just a drop in the ocean. In another location, the deities of the Xia people, as well as Jing Qiu, were all watching with incomparable excitement and joy. Donghua is truly formidable. He has cultivated for such a short period of time, yet he has already surpassed all the other deities. Amazing! He truly deserves to be the strongest deity in the history of our Xia people. The Purple Thunder Emperor, Yun Hai, and the others were all incomparably proud and excited. Jing Xiao, on the other hand, had a faint smile on her face as she watched. Her eyes, however, were shining brightly. As a wife, she was naturally very happy to see her husband like this. On the high platform, ha ha ha, the White Sand City Lord was laughing in an exceptionally carefree manner. He stroked his beard and glanced at the ugly expression on the venomous Ying world deity's face, then at the other deities. Everyone, it's too early for you to celebrate. You all thought that she was hiding his strength. Did Dongbua not hide his strength? How about it? Are you convinced of your loss? Don't be anxious. It's not the end yet. The Ink-Cloud City Lord raised his head. Brother White Sand, aren't you celebrating a little too early? Marshal Qin also raised her head. That's right. The three of them haven't given up yet. Who knows who will be first or second? The yellow-robed, venomous Ying world deity sneered. Everyone present could see it clearly. Currently, within the spherical cage, Dongbua Shui Ying held the greatest advantage. After all, the difference in strength between the three of them was not that big. Dongbua Shui Ying's Mirage secret skill, condensing reality, had more than doubled his strength. From the speed at which he killed the mutated beasts, it could be seen that Dongbua was going to be ranked first. Not good, King Ronghai suddenly shouted. I admit defeat. Within the three spherical cages that were still fighting in the sky, Drunk Guest suddenly opened his mouth. Who? He was expelled out of the cage. Standing there, he sheathed his deity sword and looked at the other two cages that were still fighting. He lightly shook his head. I've already displayed my strength to the limit. If I want to improve further, I'll have to grasp a grade 1 deity heart. Losing to the two of them is something I'm convinced of. He then flew downwards. Haha, venomous Ying. The White Sand City Lord immediately turned to the yellow-robed, venomous Ying world deity. It's hard to say who will be first and second, but the third place has already been decided. It's Drunk Guest. It's a pity that you bet on Dongbua being third, right? The yellow-robed, venomous Ying world deity had an ugly expression on her face. She sneered and did not say anything else. Even if her skin was thicker, losing 10 million deity crystals had left her feeling sullen and speechless. Jioshi's killing the mutated beasts is getting slower and slower. The Ink-Cloud City Lord and the others were all frowning. Could it be that you, White Sand, are still going to kill them all? Marshal Qin felt helpless. The White Sand City Lord stroked his beard in a pleased manner. In his heart, however, he was muttering to himself, this little brother of mine is truly formidable. Previously, I only set up this bet because I wanted to vent my anger. Who would have thought that Dongbua was actually hiding his true strength during the ranking battle? The Mirage Deity Heart, his Mirage secret skill, is actually able to produce 3 Mirage bodies. This little brother of mine is truly formidable. He might even become a world deity within 10,000 years. At the highest point of the high platform, the Kamsi Prefecture Master and Monarch Mo Shui raised their heads to watch. This Dongbua does indeed have great potential. It's a pity that he has never had a good teacher to guide him. Monarch Mo Shui could not help but comment. Just look at his Star Deity Heart secret skill. There's still some laughable mistakes. His Mirage secret skill can produce 3 bodies, and he has indeed reached a certain pinnacle. However, this is also a waste of his talent. Twice the effort for half the result. What? Are you getting impatient? The Kamsi Prefecture Master laughed. Seeing someone with potential who could clearly grasp a grade 1 deity heart even faster, yet he's still stumbling along the way, it's only natural for me to be impatient. Monarch Mo Shui shook his head. For example, this Mirage secret skill requires the Mirage Deity Heart to evolve into the World Deity Heart. What is the World Deity Heart? The World Deity Heart specializes in domains. Thus, for the Mirage Deity Heart to evolve into the World Deity Heart, a bit more effort should be put into the domain aspect. But what about him? He's actually focused on the remote Mirage True Body. Although he's studied it to the pinnacle, it's clearly a strenuous and unrewarding task. Monarch Mo Shui sighed. Ha ha! You can't even get a disciple, even if you want to, yet you're still talking so much. The calm sea prefecture master teased. It's true that I can't. Not to mention the fact that my true deity heart is about to collapse. Even if it hadn't, a stage 4 world deity wouldn't be able to snatch such a disciple. Monarch Mo Xuan nodded and sighed. This Dongbua might have made many laughable mistakes on his path of cultivation, but he still managed to reach such heights. As long as he takes a powerful existence as his master and receives their guidance, he'll be able to quickly walk down the correct path. There's a high chance of him reaching a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years. Right? Drunk Guest has the guidance of a powerful existence, so his sword techniques are completely following the path of the splitting heavens deity heart. His breakthroughs are much smoother, the calm sea prefecture master said. From their point of view, the Mirage deity heart needed to evolve into a world deity heart. One should follow the main path and advance along the main path. Dongbua Shueing had walked on a small path, the Mirage bodies. He had already reached the pinnacle of this path. He had already created 3 Mirage bodies. However, although he was extremely close to breaking through to the world deity heart, the difficulty was still much higher. Still, with the guidance of a powerful existence, they were certain that he had a high chance of grasping a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years. It's almost over. Monarch Mo Xue looked upwards. In your calm sea prefecture, Jiushi is first, Dongbua is second, and Drunk Guest is third. They're all not bad. You've gained quite a bit of face during the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast. Star. Chapter 462. Of the 250 ball-shaped cages in the sky, 2 were still fighting. These are the cages where Jiushi and Dongbua Shueing were fighting. The white-robed, white-haired, white-brows, and white-robed Jiu, she still exuded an extraordinary aura. His countless figures were scattered across every corner of the cage, each of them waving their hands furiously, injuring mutated beasts time and time again. It was already a breath's worth of time before he could barely kill a mutated beast. Mn. Jiushi frowned as he looked in a certain direction. There was a ball-shaped cage where Dongbua Shueing was currently fighting. This Dongbua has cultivated for such a short period of time, yet his attainments in both the Mirage Deity Heart and Star Deity Heart have reached such a high level. Does he not know how to focus on one path? Becoming a world deity first? Jiushi muttered to himself. He probably doesn't have a teacher to guide him, so he has to bury his head in cultivation. I originally thought that using this secret skill would be enough for me to take first place in the survival battle. Who would have thought that this Dongbua would be so powerful? It seems like I'll have to reveal my true strength. I originally wanted to do so in front of His Majesty and the powerful existences. However, I still have to take first place in the Calm Sea Prefecture survival battle. Otherwise, I won't even be able to take first place. In the future, when I become a disciple of a powerful existence, I will be mocked by my fellow disciples, Jiushi thought. Boom! The countless Jiushi figures scattered across every corner of the cage all wave their palms at the same time. Countless illusory palms rapidly converged to form a huge golden palm. This golden palm occupied nearly half of the ball-shaped cage before abruptly pressing downwards. Pooh! As the golden palm pressed downwards, everything in its path was annihilated. Even the black-scaled mutated beast was directly crushed into nothingness. What? How is this possible? The White Sand City Lord, the emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace, the venomous Ying World Deity, the Ink Cloud City Lord, Marshal Qin, and King Ronghai, the spectators of the various races, as well as the deities of the Xia people and Jingxiu, all stared at this scene in astonishment. At this point in the survival battle, just how powerful were the mutated beasts that were born? Drunk Guest could no longer kill mutated beasts. Even the 4 Dongbua Shueing figures had to work together to kill one. But Jiushi could kill it in one move? Boundless Deity Heart? The White Sand City Lord, the emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace, and the Ink Cloud City Lord exchanged glances. This Jiu, she actually mastered the boundless deity heart? Marshal Qin exclaimed, "A grade 1 deity heart, boundless deity heart. What a good Jiushi. He has already grasped a grade 1 deity heart, yet he waited until now to use it. Maybe he broke through in the midst of battle," King Ronghai said with a chuckle. "Breaking through and grasping a grade 1 deity heart? How could there be such a coincidence?" The Ink Cloud City Lord laughed. "I'm guessing that this Jiushi has long since grasped the boundless deity heart. It's just that he hasn't been in a hurry to use it. To be able to grasp the boundless deity heart after cultivating for nearly 6 million years, that's already pretty good. Brother White Sand, it looks like this Jiushi is the number 1 and Donghua is number 2. You won't be able to earn any divine crystals from us." The emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace, Marshal Qin, and the others also laughed. Even though Donghua Shuang was ranked 2nd and they did not make any losses, they were still very happy. Previously, they had thought that they would lose 10 million divinity crystals. Now, they had recovered their capital. Only the venomous Ying world deity remained silent, because she was the only one who lost. Fortunately, I made some money from venomous Ying. The White Sand City Lord deliberately made things clear. "Oomph." Venomous Ying world deity sneered. "I really didn't expect that one of the experts from my Calm Sea Prefecture participating this time would have a grade 1 deity heart." The Ink Cloud City Lord exclaimed, "According to past experience, the number of people who have grasped a grade 1 deity heart in every myriad flower feast can be counted on one hand. The Bloodshed God Palace has a total of 19 prefectures, yet my Calm Sea Prefecture has 1. How rare." Yes, with a boundless deity heart, this Jiushi will definitely be ranked in the top 10 of the myriad flower feast. Everyone present nodded. In the past, there had always been a few deities who had grasped a grade 1 deity heart in a myriad flower feast. In the earliest days, there was even a debate. Should anyone with a grade 1 deity heart be banned from participating? However, there were those who rebutted, a deity will break through during the myriad flower feast, greatly increasing their strength. Are they going to be eliminated? That doesn't make sense. There were also those who said, who knows if he broke through during the battle or if he had grasped it long ago. In the end, it was His Majesty who decided, as long as one has cultivated for 11 million years and uses deity energy, even if one grasps a grade 1 deity heart, they can still participate. Because grasping a grade 1 deity heart was extremely difficult. Most deities would cultivate for more than 100 million years before becoming world deities, such as the Sorcerer God. His talent was not bad, and he had also cultivated for more than 100 million years. More than 90% of world deities had spent more than 100 million years in the deity realm. Even so, the number of world deities in a star field could be counted on one's fingers. And to grasp a grade 1 deity heart within 11 million years, let alone the territory of the Bloodshed God Palace. Even in the entire deity world, there were only about 10 or 20 such people in every myriad flower feast. In addition, their talent was not bad, and most of them were already under the tutelage of powerful existences. Some even belonged to the Temporal Island or the Myriad God Palace, so they would not participate in the Myriad Flower Feast. After all, as long as they participated in the Bloodshed God Palace battle, they would naturally become a member of the Bloodshed God Palace. If they did not wish to join the Bloodshed God Palace, then they would not participate in the battle. They would not be qualified to enjoy the Myriad Flower True Fruit. Thus, in every Myriad Flower Feast, there were only a few who grasped a grade 1 deity heart. Their eyesight is still somewhat lacking. They only discovered now that she grasped a boundless deity heart. Monarch Mo Shuel looked down at the White Sand City Lord and the other 5, then said to the Calm Sea Prefecture Master, the secret skill she used previously, which allowed him to split himself into countless bodies, might not be eye-catching, but it still contains some of the boundless deity heart's profound mysteries. During the arena battle, when Jiushi split himself into countless bodies and killed his opponent with a single move, Monarch Mo Shui and the Calm Sea Prefecture Master had discovered it. After all, this secret skill contained some of the boundless deity heart's profound mysteries. Jiushi was not afraid of exposing himself, and he also wanted to get first place. That was why he used such a secretive move, even though it contained a small amount of the boundless divine heart's profoundness. Even though it contained some of the boundless deity heart's profound mysteries, Jiushi felt that he should not be discovered. As for being forced by Donghua Shui Ying to the very end, she no longer concealed himself and directly revealed his full strength. I can't blame them, the Kamsi Prefecture Master said. The Kamsi Prefecture Master continued, the boundless deity heart is extremely rare even amongst grade 1 deity hearts. Bai Sha and the others have yet to grasp the boundless deity heart, and the secret skill they used previously was rather hidden. Naturally, they would not be able to tell. Amen, Monarch Mo Shuen nodded. Grade 1 deity heart. Most world deities would have a space-time deity heart, extremity deity heart, creation deity heart, primal deity heart, and world deity heart. As for the boundless deity heart, it was extremely rare. It was just like how it was extremely rare for someone to comprehend the mirage deity heart from a grade 2 deity heart. The boundless deity heart was also extremely rare as it represented a unique essence of the entire world. Even world deities would find it hard to comprehend it. Only after becoming a stage 4 world deity would they begin to comprehend it by analogy. Even if they did not completely grasp it, they would at least have a rough understanding of it. As such, both the Kamsi Prefecture Master and Monarch Mo Shui were able to see through it. In truth, Jiushi had only managed to comprehend the boundless deity heart after being trapped in a certain place for many years due to a fortuitous encounter. It was there that he experienced the meaning of boundless and eventually grasped the boundless deity heart. The boundless deity heart was extremely rare, and its methods were extremely strange. It could be considered a school of its own. Formidable. Donghua Shui Ying also saw the scene of Jiushi's battle in the distant spherical cage. Countless illusory palms converged to form a huge golden palm. Its power shocked even Donghua Shui Ying. Unless I use a grade 1 deity heart, it's impossible for me to win. He's cultivated for nearly 6 million years. It's one thing for him to use a grade 1 deity heart. I've only cultivated my heart for 2,000 years or so. If I were to use a grade 1 deity heart, it would most likely be known to all powerful existences. Donghua Shui Ying thought to himself. Forget it. Big Brother White Sand also said that if I were ranked second, his bet wouldn't be too bad. Only if I were ranked third would he lose miserably. Donghua Shui Ying immediately said, I admit defeat. Although he could still continue fighting, there was no need to delay any longer. He was directly expelled out of the spherical cage and into the air. Standing in midair and looking at the countless figures of Jiushi in the distant spherical cage, Donghua Shui Ying could not help but sigh inwardly. Boundless? Is this the boundless deity heart of a grade 1 deity heart? No wonder I couldn't tell which of his countless bodies was the real one. So they were all fake. Or perhaps every single one of them could be the real one. The trillions of figures could all be fake. Or the real body could hide within one of them. Or the real body could be scattered among the trillions of bodies, for example. The chaotic deity heart and the extremity deity heart were both extremely powerful. However, when they encountered the boundless deity heart, they would find it troublesome. In fact, they might not even be able to touch the enemy. However, the deity heart that Donghua Shui Ying grasped was the domain-type world deity heart. Naturally, he was the world lord. The world suppression was a perfect counter to the boundless deity heart. I admit defeat. After Donghua Shui Ying admitted defeat, the countless figures of she instantly dissipated, leaving only a single figure. Dressed in white robes and with white hair, he indifferently glanced at Donghua Shui Ying with a hint of arrogance in his eyes. In his opinion, he had grasped a grade 1 deity heart, so the myriad flower feast should have been a walk in the park. The champion of the Kamsi Prefecture should naturally be him. As for Donghua Shui Ying, while his potential was not bad, his actual strength? The gap between them was huge. Grade 1 deity heart, that Jiushi has grasped a grade 1 deity heart? He's that powerful, it's normal for Dongbua to lose to him. After all, the two of them aren't even on the same level. Countless spectators cried out in alarm. Jiushi was also expelled from his spherical cage. His lips curled into a smile as his gaze swept across the crowd. By then, Dongbua Shuiying had already descended and returned to his original position. Brother Dongbua, I didn't think that Jiushi would have already grasped a grade 1 deity heart. Losing to him is something that can't be helped, 7th Meiyu said with a smile. It can't be helped. Dongbua Shuiying did not seem to mind at all. At this time, the voice of the Bloodshed God Palace's emissary resounded through the sky. The Calm Sea Prefecture selection for the Myriad Flower Feast has ended, and the top 100 have been selected. These 100 will set off for the Bloodshed God Palace in 3 years. Star. Chapter 463. The Legion's soldiers maintained order, and the spectators began to disperse. Dongbua Shuiying, drunk guest, and the others returned to their own caverns. On the high platform, the White Sand City Lord and the others stood up to leave. After all, the 3 selections of the Calm Sea Prefecture had ended, and there was no need for them to stay any longer. Old Brother White Sand, are you going to the Bloodshed God Palace? King Ronghai asked. Even if it's for his brother Dongbua, he'll still go and spectate. The Ink Cloud City Lord laughed from the side. The White Sand City Lord grinned, stroking his beard in delight. Ink Cloud City Lord, you guessed correctly. I'm indeed going to the Bloodshed God Palace to take a look and see which powerful existence my brother Dongbua will eventually become the disciple of. You don't need to worry about that. That little fellow Dongbua is extremely talented, the Ink Cloud City Lord said confidently. The Ink Cloud City Lord said confidently. He's already this strong in just over 2,300 years. His Mirage Deity Heart and Star Deity Heart both have a chance of breaking through. Under the guidance of a powerful existence, he has a high chance of breaking through to grade 1 Deity Heart within 10,000 years. With such potential, powerful existences will definitely be willing to take the initiative to choose him. I'm not worried about whether or not he'll be chosen by a powerful existence. The White Sand City Lord shook his head. If even someone with Dongbua's potential isn't chosen, how many others will? On the surface, Jiushi might be stronger than Dongbua Shuiying, but Jiushi had cultivated for nearly 6 million years. His potential was far inferior to Dongbua Shuiying's. What I'm slightly worried about is whether or not Dongbua has any hope of becoming the disciple of one of those 3. The White Sand City Lord was filled with anticipation. Those 3? Marshal Qin, King Ronghai, and the others could not help but shake their heads. Difficult. Reporting to Prefecture Master, the Calm Sea Prefecture selections have ended. I'll be returning to the Bloodshed God Palace first, the emissary said to the Prefecture Master. Go. The Calm Sea Prefecture Master nodded. The emissary of the Bloodshed God Palace was supposed to report the situation of the survival battle as soon as possible so that it could be sorted into more detailed reports and sent to the powerful existences. Facing this river, even world deities would not be able to fly. They had to take a boat to cross it. This river, which was born out of the void, encircled a vast continent in the starry sky. The length of this river was millions and millions of kilometers, so long that it was hard to even count it. Even the Calm Sea Prefecture City, which was as big as it was, could only barely match the width of this river. There were countless cultivators on this continent. In the center of the continent was a luxurious black palace. In a garden within the black palace, a black-robed, black-haired old man sat cross-legged with his eyes closed. He seemed to have no aura at all, as if he had become one with the palace, the continent, and even the surging void river. Master! A beautiful woman in red walked in and looked at him nervously before speaking respectfully. The black-robed, black-haired old man opened his eyes and looked at the red-robed woman. This is an intelligence report sent over by the Bloodshed God Palace. The selection of the 19 prefectures of the Bloodshed God Palace has concluded, with 100 candidates from each prefecture. In total, there is 1,900 candidates. The red-robed woman respectfully handed over a blood-colored scroll, which immediately floated in front of the black-robed, black-haired old man. With a single glance, the old man understood everything. Not bad. There are quite a few outstanding youngsters in this myriad flower feast. The black-robed, black-haired old man sighed. Is there anyone that you want, master? The red-robed woman asked with a smile. 2 or 3. The one I like the most is a brat called Dombois. It's a pity that I didn't take a fancy to him. I reckon that many other powerful existences will take a fancy to him as well. I wonder who he'll eventually become a disciple of. If Master wants to fight, he'll definitely be able to, the red-robed woman said. His Majesty hasn't accepted a disciple in a long time, so it's unlikely that he will, the black-robed, black-haired old man said. I'm just afraid that those 3 will try to snatch him from me. Those 3? The red-robed woman was startled. As the news spread, many of the powerful existences who were about to participate in the myriad flower feast came to know of the young geniuses with great potential. Drunk Guest, for example, was a pretty good candidate, but he was already the personal disciple of the powerful Yugong. There were not many who were sufficiently talented, but didn't have a powerful existence as a master. Moreover, if one's potential wasn't too dazzling, the powerful existences wouldn't bother fighting over it. After all, it didn't make much of a difference. Thus, there were only a few people worth fighting over. Eastern Europe's Snow Eagle was one of them. Kamsi Prefecture, Dombois Shui Ying's cavern dwelling, within a cultivation room. I hope that I can become a disciple of His Majesty God Emperor during this myriad flower feast, Dombois Shui thought. However, His Majesty is the strongest expert in the deity world, so there's not much meaning in accepting a disciple. It's been a long time since he's accepted a disciple. It'd be great if I could become a disciple of one of the 3 ancestors. Powerful existences. They transcended the river of time and were truly eternal existences. Although stage 4 world deities were rare, and taking that step to become a powerful existence was difficult, the Bloodshed God Palace still had 23 powerful existences. Over the long years, the Bloodshed God Palace had a total of 23 powerful existences. The most dazzling of them all was His Majesty Bloodblade. The second was the 3rd ancestor. Only after there were the other 19 powerful existences. The 3rd ancestor. The first was called the Monarch of Destruction. He was originally the Abyss Monarch of one of the layers of the Dark Abyss, and one of the earliest powerful existences in the Dark Abyss. His age could even be ranked in the top 3. When his avatar arrived in the deity world, he took in a disciple while roaming the deity world. That disciple was the current Bloodblade. As an ancient monarch of the Dark Abyss, he gradually improved as he taught Bloodblade. Although his current combat power was no longer comparable to that of his disciple, he was still stronger than most powerful existences. Furthermore, he specialized in teaching disciples. Over the long years, other than Bloodblade, he had taught a total of 5 powerful existences. Thus, even though he was born in the Dark Abyss, the Monarch of Destruction had an extremely high status within the Bloodshed God Palace. He was greatly respected, and he usually resided within the Bloodshed God Palace's territory. The second was called Pang Yi. Pang Yi was one of the earliest savage existences born in the deity world. During the earliest era of the deity world, there were many deity world creatures. They slaughtered each other, and only 5 of them managed to survive and become powerful existences. They were also known as the Fierce 5 of the deity world. Pang Yi was the head of the Fierce 5. The other 4 were the standard of ordinary powerful existences. Only Pang Yi was much stronger. The third was called the Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master. The Bamboo Mountain Prefecture was also one of the 19 prefectures of the Bloodshed God Palace. The Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master was only a stage 4 world deity. According to logic, the longer a stage 4 world deity lived, their temperament would gradually change to the point where they could no longer maintain their original heart. An ordinary stage 4 world deity would live for 10 billion years, or at most a few billion years. Very few could live beyond 20 billion years. But the Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master had already lived for 500 billion years and was the longest living stage for world deity. Even now, there are no signs of his true deity heart crumbling. Furthermore, his combat power was exceptionally strong, even stronger than ordinary powerful existences. He was one of the three ancestors. In the deity world and dark abyss, there were no longer any extravagant hopes that his true deity heart would crumble. After all, ordinary stage 4 world deities could only live for 10 billion years. But what about him? He had lived for far too long. There were even some powerful existences who had fallen, and none of them had lived as long as he did. Even though he was not a powerful existence, everyone treated him as one, and ordinary powerful existences had to treat him with respect. Sacred Master Crimson Dust, for instance, had clearly not lived as long as the Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master. The three ancestors' combat power far surpasses that of ordinary powerful existences. Donghua Shuang thought, it's just that once their combat power reaches this level, they don't care much about accepting disciples. Donghua, Her Highness Meiyu has come to visit. Jing Xiu's voice came from outside the cultivation room. Chapter 464. As soon as Donghua Ying left the cultivation room, he saw 7th Meiyu standing in the courtyard. 7th Meiyu still had the appearance of a white-robed handsome youth. He turned his head and smiled. Brother Donghua, my father wishes to meet you. Your father? Donghua Ying was startled. May I ask? My father is Monarch Mo Shui. 7th Meiyu did not hide anything. Monarch Mo Shui? Donghua Ying suddenly understood. He had been wondering why Monarch Mo Shui had come to watch the Calm Sea Prefecture selections. So it turned out that his children had come as well. He had only heard that Monarch Mo Shui had 6 daughters. 7th Meiyu was only at the deity realm, so she was clearly much younger. Could it be that Monarch Mo Shui finally had a son? Jing Xiu, who was standing to the side, was also somewhat startled. Monarch Mo Shui wishes to meet the snow eagle? Amen. 7th Meiyu nodded. My father is currently at my cave residence. Brother Donghua, let's head over first. Jing Xiu, I'll be heading over first, Donghua Shuang said. Since Monarch Mo Shui had summoned him, he naturally could not be negligent. Jing Xiu nodded lightly, sending Donghua Ying and 7th Meiyu off with her gaze. Within the hall of 7th Meiyu's cave residence, Monarch Mo Shui was seated cross-legged. Upon entering, Donghua Ying respectfully greeted. Junior Donghua pays his respects to Monarch. Have a seat, Monarch Mo Shui said with a smile. Donghua Ying immediately sat down behind a table, while 7th Meiyu sat opposite him. Within the hall were Monarch Mo Shui, Donghua, 7th Meiyu, and the attendants. I've watched all of your battles, Monarch Mo Shui said. Monarch Mo Shui said, although your potential is not bad, you have taken many detours and even made many laughable mistakes. You should have never received pointers from powerful beings. Not even stage 4 world deities have given you pointers, right? Stage 4 world deities were just one step away from becoming powerful existences, and their understanding of the laws of the world was already incomparably close to that of powerful existences. Yes, this junior has always been exploring the path of cultivation. Donghua Ying replied respectfully. No wonder. Tell me about the secret skill of your star divine heart. Monarch Mo Shui casually pointed, and a long spear appeared in midair. The spear technique displayed by this long spear was precisely chaotic crushing suppression. At Monarch Mo Shui's level, he had long grasped the chaotic whole deity heart. Therefore, imitating this secret skill was simply a walk in the park. Look at this secret skill of yours. The moment this Monarch Mo Shui came, he began to give pointers. This made Donghua secretly suspicious. Why did this Monarch Mo Shui treat him so well? You think highly of my potential? But in the eyes of others, he was not a grade 1 true, meaning transcendent. It was unknown how long it would take for him to become a stage 3 or 4 world deity. Even though Dongbua Shui Ying was perplexed, he still listened attentively. After all, such guidance was extremely precious. This finger poke, it lasted for a full 2 days. 7th May, you had been drinking fruit wine by the side, watching calmly. Monarch Mo Shui was in high spirits as he gave pointers. Dongbua Shui Ying would often raise many doubts. From this, Monarch Mo Shui could feel that Dongbua Shui Ying's comprehension ability was extremely high. All right, let's stop here. Monarch Mo Shui stopped. Only then did Dongbua Shui Ying reluctantly stop. After 2 days of teaching, he was no longer as unfamiliar with Monarch Mo Shui. Even though they were not master and disciple in name, there was some truth to it. One must know that it was rare for an inner disciple of a powerful existence to receive pointers. This kind of wholehearted guidance for 2 consecutive days was more than what many inner disciples of powerful existences received in a lifetime. Senior, why do you treat me? Dongbua Shui Ying could not help but ask. Let's form karma. Monarch Mo Shui smiled. 3 years later, you will head to the Bloodshed God Palace. At that time, I'm afraid there will be many powerful existences willing to accept you as a disciple. Have you decided who to choose? Of course, the stronger the master, the better. Dongbua Shui Ying honestly said, if I can become His Majesty's disciple, that would naturally be the best. Being able to become the disciple of the 3 ancestors is already a great fortune. If not, then I'll choose the one that suits me. Monarch Mo Shui nodded. His Majesty has not accepted disciples for a long time. His Majesty will not care about grade 1 true, meaning transcendence. But the 3 ancestors, you have some hope. Let me remind you of the 3 ancestors. The best would be Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master, followed by Overlord Destruction, and finally Pangyi. Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master is the best. Dongbua Shui Ying was shocked. Isn't he a stage 4 world deity? Have you seen a stage 4 world deity who has lived for more than 500 billion years? Monarch Mo Shui shook his head, his voice low. What I've told you, you must not spread it. Yes. Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. Bamboo Mountain Prefecture Master is a stage 4 world deity on the surface, but in reality, he cannot be considered a world deity. Monarch Mo Shui's gaze was complicated. Cannot be considered a world deity? Dongbua Shui Ying was puzzled. This old man, his absolute art, has always been unwilling to be spread out. If I were to learn it, Monarch Mo Shui muttered. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He then grinned. Let's not talk about it anymore. In short, taking him as your teacher is absolutely not a mistake. As long as he is willing to accept you, you can immediately go and take him as your teacher. If your potential is really high enough to receive his attention and love and learn that absolute art of his, then you really have to thank me. Junior understands. Dongbua Shui Ying nodded. If the 3 ancestors do not invite you, then you can do as you see fit. Monarch Mo Shui said. After the discussion, Dongbua Shui Ying also left and returned to his cave dwelling. In the following days, he would be in closed-door cultivation. This time, the guidance he received was of great help to him. Monarch Mo Shui's guidance was mainly on the star deity heart. As for the mirage deity heart, Monarch Mo Shui's guidance was very simple. It was to let him temporarily give up his research on the mirage body and focus more on the domain aspect. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. An extravagant starfield flying ship departed from the Kamsi Prefecture. The Kamsi Prefecture Master was personally driving it, leading Dongbua Shui Ying and a large group of people. Riding on a starfield flying ship is truly comfortable. Standing on the deck and gazing at the colorful and flowing space-time tunnel, Dongbua Shui Ying, Jing Xiao, the Purple Thunder Emperor, and the other deities of the Xia people were all sighing in amazement. Naturally, the other deities ranked in the top 100 were also watching with their subordinates and servants. If one were to use a spatial teleportation array, it would feel as though one had sunk into a swamp. It would be extremely uncomfortable. The Purple Thunder Emperor sighed in admiration. But using a starfield flying ship is much more comfortable. Their surroundings were filled with colorful and flowing space-time tunnels. This huge ship was flying within them. This flight, it took the time to brew a cup of tea, because the distance between the Calm Sea Prefecture and the Bloodshed God Palace was simply too great. Even if one were to use a spatial teleportation array, it would still take the time taken to brew a cup of tea. To feel as though one was being squeezed by a swamp for the time taken to brew a cup of tea was truly suffering. Experts with sufficiently high statuses and strength, such as Stage 3 world deities, would usually have their own starfield flying ship. We're here. The colorful and flowing space-time tunnel suddenly came to an end, and the ship instantly flew out. So this is the Bloodshed God Palace? Dongbua Ying and the others all gasped in amazement at the dazzling scene before them. The Bloodshed God Palace's myriad flower feast? A withered wooden ship arrived at the Bloodshed God Palace. Standing on it was a white-robed, bald youth. His eyes seemed to contain a boundless world, and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. I heard that junior apprentice brother Dongbua is also participating in the myriad flower feast, and that he's quite dazzling in the Calm Sea Prefecture. As his senior apprentice brother, I'll definitely have to take a good look. A fiery red ship with flames rising from its surface. The fiery red ship passed through the space-time tunnel and arrived in the starry sky outside the Bloodshed God Palace. Soon after, the ship disappeared. A white-haired, youthful-faced old man appeared with a smile on his face. This was none other than Chiwa Laozu. I sent Dongbua to participate, but who would have thought that this kid would be so dazzling? In this myriad flower feast, in terms of potential, Dongbua Ying could easily rank in the top 3. So. As the myriad flower feast began, many Stage 4 world deities and powerful existences were invited. Many of them were not from the Bloodshed God Palace's territory, and some were even from the Dark Abyss. They were all invited. Many ancient and mysterious existences from the deity world, as well as some who kept a low profile, yet were extremely powerful, were invited one after another. As long as there was no enmity between them, they would still give face to the Bloodblade. Star. Chapter 466. Dongbua Ying and the others stood on the deck of the starfield flying ship, looking at the dazzling scene in front of them. The Bloodshed God Palace. This is the Bloodshed God Palace. Everyone exclaimed. In the starry sky ahead of them was a floating continent. This continent was only slightly larger than the Calm Sea Prefecture city. There was a chain of palaces on the continent. Among them, the palace with the symbol of Blood Edge in the center was the tallest and most majestic. There were a total of 9 statues scattered around the 4 corners of the Bloodshed God Palace. These 9 statues were all kinds of beasts with armor on their bodies. Each of these mutated beasts was over 100 billion kilometers tall, second only to the main palace in the center. It's so beautiful. The entire Bloodshed God Palace emitted a misty rainbow light. This was because every palace building, every street, and even the surroundings of the 9 statues were covered with ancient arrays. These arrays were constantly drawing upon the power of heaven and earth, emitting all sorts of colorful lights. Thus, even though the Bloodshed God Palace was only this big, its light illuminated hundreds of millions of kilometers. This isn't just beautiful. For these arrays to have such power when activated automatically, one can imagine how terrifying their true power is. 7th, may you watch from afar. According to what I know, the Bloodshed God Palace was personally constructed by His Majesty, and it has been reinforced over countless years. Just the slightest release of power from these arrays is enough to kill powerful existences, much less world deities. Not even powerful existences can resist it, as expected of the Bloodshed God Palace. Everyone present could only sigh in shock. After all, this was the core of the Bloodshed God Palace, and also the place where the strongest expert in the deity world, Bloodshed God Emperor, resided. To His Majesty, God Emperor, killing ordinary powerful existences was a walk in the park. Thus, it was not strange for the arrays he had meticulously laid out to have such power. The Kamsi Prefecture Master's ship arrived at the Bloodshed God Palace. Under the guidance of the Bloodshed God Palace's soldiers, everyone was taken to their respective residences. Donbua, this is where you and your companions will be staying, a muscular black-armored soldier said. I'm sure you all know the rules of the Bloodshed God Palace. If you break the rules and lose your life, it will be too late for regrets. We understand, Donbua Shuang said. All right, cultivate quietly. When the myriad flower feast begins, you will be summoned to participate in the final Bloodshed God Palace battle. The black-armored soldier instructed, then turned around and left. Donbua Shuang sent him off with his eyes. To the side, the Dragon Mountain Emperor sighed, as expected of the Bloodshed God Palace. Even a most ordinary soldier is a world deity. Along the way, none of the soldiers I saw were deity rank. Long Shan, the Purple Thunder Emperor, laughed. The legions of the Bloodshed God Palace are divided into 3 classes. The legions within the Starfield are usually the lowest class 3, and the few legions within the prefecture are all class 2. As for the legions within the Bloodshed God Palace, any one of them is a true class 1 legion. In a first-class legion, even the lowest soldiers are world deities. A first-class legion can directly deal with powerful existences. Oh, the Dragon Mountain Emperor suddenly understood. He hadn't been in the divine world for long, and he had always lived in a small place, so he knew very little. This time, in order to go to the prefecture city, he had used up all his treasures just to pay for the teleportation array. Let's go in first, Shuang said as he looked around him. In the distance, there were many experts participating in the Bloodshed God Palace battle with their companions. They entered the cavern dwelling. This cavern dwelling could be considered the smallest in the Bloodshed God Palace, being only 5 kilometers in circumference. Donbua Shuang sat cross-legged on the grass, next to a river within the cavern dwelling. He held a crystal jade in his hand, and the information contained within the crystal jade flowed into his mind. This crystal jade had been sent over by a soldier of the Bloodshed God Palace, and it contained the battle scenes of the 1,900 deity experts participating in the Bloodshed God Palace battle, mainly the arena battles and the survival battles. Of the 1,900 deity experts, there are a total of 5 who have grasped a grade 1 deity heart, like Jiushi. Perhaps there are still 2 or 3 who have yet to reveal their true strength. Donbua Shuang thought. Those who grasp a grade 1 deity heart definitely won't be able to defeat them. Based on past experience, the first few with grade 1 deity hearts will usually be occupied by them. However, my goal is to become a disciple of a powerful existence and accumulate some experience. Then, I'll eat a myriad flower true fruit. That would be perfect. Donbua Shuang then began to ponder over the opponents one by one. However, the combat power of this batch of opponents is truly high. Recalling the battle scenes, he began to categorize their combat power. Who was undefeatable? Who was able to fight against them? Who was able to defeat them? The Bloodshed God Palace had sent this information to every participant precisely so that they could understand themselves and their enemies. Only then would they be able to fight more brilliantly during the Bloodshed God Palace battle. If a powerful expert were to foolishly clash with someone who grasped a grade 1 deity heart, that would be an unjust loss. Snow Eagle, Snow Eagle. A voice came from afar. Donbua Shuang turned his head, only to see his wife walking over with a white-robed bald teenager. The white-robed bald teenager had a unique aura, as if he could see through everything and transcend everything. His eyes were boundlessly vast, as if they contained millions upon millions of worlds. This was a super expert that caused Donbua Shuang to sigh in admiration. He was in existence on the same level as Monarch Mo Shui and the Kamsi Prefecture Master. Junior disciple brother Donbua. The white-robed bald teenager walked over with a smile on his face. Greetings, senior disciple brother Huiming. Donbua Shuang hurriedly stepped forward and bowed. I've heard that Crimson Rock Mountain fell into the material world after teacher's death, but under a stroke of luck, he accepted a good disciple. Who would have thought that junior disciple Brother Donghua would be so amazing? The white-robed, bald teenager laughed and praised. I've heard from Chihua Laozu that you've sacrificed half of your soul to save your wife, yet you're still so powerful. I'm afraid that there will be more than one powerful existence willing to accept you as a disciple in this myriad flower feast. Senior disciple brother is overpraising me, Donghua Shuang said. Jing Qiu hurriedly said, since eldest disciple brother is here, I've brought him here. They had all cultivated on Crimson Dust Island, so they were familiar with eldest disciple brother Huaming's appearance. Right, senior disciple brother. The enemy who killed teacher wouldn't be from the Bloodshed God Palace, right? Donghua Shuang asked. I don't want to become their disciple. It's a powerful existence from the Temporal Island, Huiming said. If it were a powerful existence from the Bloodshed God Palace, Scarlet Flame wouldn't have allowed you to participate in the Myriad Flower Feast. I understand. Donghua Shuang nodded. As they conversed, invisible ripples began to spread around them. These ripples were capable of preventing all probing. For instance, the sac that Ancestor Black Wind had once obtained was capable of rendering all laws of nature ineffective. Powerful existences had transcended the laws of the world, and they could easily create such treasures. Thus, both Huiming and Donghua Shuang had such treasures that could block all probing. Once they were blocked, even the Temporal Temple wouldn't be able to investigate. After all, the Temporal Temple could only reverse time. In the deity world, most assassins would use such treasures. Even if they were killed, they wouldn't be able to find out who the killer was. Teacher's enmity involves powerful existences, so you don't need to worry about it, Huiming said. It's too distant for you. I understand. Teacher didn't insist on us taking revenge, Donghua Shuang said with a smile. Huh. Huiming lightly nodded and smiled. I really envy you, junior disciple brother. You control a material mortal world, and you even have a lover by your side. Even during the Myriad Flower Feast, your sister-in-law accompanied you. I'm starting to feel a bit jealous. Beside him, Jing Qiu also laughed. Donghua Shuang looked at his wife. When their gazes met, they could feel each other's thoughts. I'm also very satisfied, Donghua Shuang said. If he was all alone, what was the point of being unparalleled? Star. Chapter 467. Huiming replied, Junior brother Donghua, I am currently staying at the distant Dust Temple. If you wish to find me, you can go there to look for me. As for normal communication, you can do so through communication treasures. All right. Donghua Shuang and Huiming left an imprint on each other so that communication treasures could be used to sense each other. Soon, Senior Huiming bade farewell and left. Senior Huiming is greatly respected by the disciples of Crimson Rock Mountain. Seeing him today, I can see that he is indeed extraordinary. He even came to see me and treated me so courteously. Donghua Shuang sighed. Although he had potential, news of his grade 1 true meaning had never been revealed. Secondly, Senior Huiming was also a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. He was also the only grade 1 true meaning transcendent that Sacred Master Crimson Dust had accepted. He was now a stage 4 world deity. I heard that Senior Huiming suffered a setback in his love life when he was young and became a monk. Jing Qiu sighed. His talent was outstanding, and he was even a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. Later on, because of a grudge, he began to spread his faith without restraint, and quickly became a stage 4 world deity. Donghua Shuang nodded. Faith, it was a huge help to one's cultivation. By accumulating the power of faith, one's cultivation speed would explosively increase. A grade 1 true meaning transcendent with outstanding talent would naturally improve by leaps and bounds. However, faith was the key to success and failure. Faith was also bound by karma. The more faith one absorbed, the harder it would be to transcend. This was also the biggest obstacle for stage 4 world deities to become powerful existences. Even so, there were still countless world deities who continued to spread and absorb faith. If they did not absorb faith, they would at most become Stage 2 world deities. If they absorbed faith, they would have a chance of becoming Stage 3 world deities. Those who were extremely lucky might even become Stage 4 world deities. Naturally, they were all willing to absorb faith. As for those who could not become powerful existences, since ancient times, how many have become powerful existences in the deity world and dark abyss? It was too difficult. Of course, Grade 1 true, meaning transcendence, would usually not absorb faith unless there was a special reason. Dong Wuxueying had also been warned by the weapon spirit, Crimson Rock, not to absorb faith. That was because a Grade 1 true meaning transcendence potential was extremely great, and his chances of becoming a Stage 4 world deity were already very high. It was not worth it for him to save time by absorbing faith, which was akin to cutting off all hope of becoming a powerful existence. The main hall was extremely tall, and at the highest point was the place where the myriad flower feast was held. Clouds and mist surrounded the main hall, and one after another, great existences flew over from afar. Each of these great existences had their own unique auras. Some were blazing hot, as though they could instantly incinerate everything within 1,000,000 miles. Some were reserved like a bottomless abyss, and some were so sharp that they tore through the void, causing Dongbua Shui-Ing and the others' hearts to palpitate. Dongbua Shui-Ing and the other 1,900 great existences were currently seated at the outermost perimeter, each with a table of food in front of them. There were also soldiers standing guard around them, the weakest of which was a Stage 1 world deity. Occasionally, a Stage 2 world deity could be seen as well. As for the area near His Majesty and the other powerful existences, there were even Stage 3 world deity guards standing guard respectfully. I remember that General Ying's father is a Stage 3 world deity and His Majesty's personal guard. Dong Wuxueying glanced in the direction of His Majesty and saw the Stage 3 world deity guard standing guard. I reckon that General Ying's father is one of them. As deities, they could not clearly see what was happening within the banquet. All they could feel was an invisible pressure, and when they looked over with their naked eyes, all they could see was a blur. Bloodblade was seated at the highest point. He was dressed in a crimson robe, and his eyes were deep and serene. The area around him seemed to be filled with endless darkness and destruction. Just by sitting there, he was able to instill fear in the other powerful existences who were participating in the banquet. Beside him, there were 3 others who were seated at the same height as him. The aura of these 3 people was so strong that it was comparable to that of Bloodblade. One of them was a ruler from the Dark Abyss. His body was huge and towering, and his eyes were filled with an endless bloodthirst. The Dark Abyss had a total of 3 rulers. Just like how the Temporal Island Lord, Bloodblade, and the Myriad God Palace Head stood at the apex of the deity world, these 3 rulers also stood at the apex of the Dark Abyss. There was another Abyss ruler. He was a cold male dressed in golden armor. His gaze was the sharpest, and none of the powerful existences below dared to look him in the eye. The final person was a graceful and luxurious woman. Her aura was the most reserved and gentle, though she was not at a disadvantage when compared to Bloodblade and the others. Other than these 4, the other powerful existences were all seated below. They were grand and majestic, and there were close to 100 of them. Some of them came from the Dark Abyss, while others were subordinates of the Bloodshed God Palace. Most of them were independent, powerful existences who did not belong to any organization. These powerful existences were all extremely arrogant, and most of them were unwilling to serve others. Even powerful existences like Bloodblade, Temporal Island Lord, and Myriad God Palace Head weren't willing to serve them. For instance, the Bloodshed God Palace. Even though they had several powerful existences under them, some of them were seeking refuge, while others had a teacher-disciple relationship. Other than the powerful existences, there were also Stage 4 world deities attending the banquet. However, all Stage 4 world deities belonged to the Bloodshed God Palace, and Stage 4 world deities from outside organizations were not qualified to be invited. Old Monkey, I heard that you snatched a Sunstar nucleus stone from the Sunstar. Who are you listening to? Sunstar nucleus stone? The Sunstar hasn't produced a star nucleus stone for hundreds of billions of years, and I managed to snatch one? All of you must have gone crazy thinking about the Sunstar nucleus stone. Come, let's have a drink. Brother Wu, we haven't seen each other in a long time. I didn't expect you to come to the Myriad Flower Feast. I've been in seclusion for a long time. I made some progress, so I came out to relax. The Almighties chatted in twos and threes. Those who were close to each other sat together. Those with grudges kept their distance. Everyone, Bloodblade sat high above, his voice somewhat cold. With so many good friends here, the Myriad Flower Feast is so lively. I'm also very happy. Everyone, let's continue drinking and chatting. While we're chatting, how about watching the little fellows from our Bloodshed God Palace compete? The powerful existences present all turned to look outside. Their gazes easily landed on the 1,900 deities outside. Most of them, however, were just there to watch the show. After all, only the powerful existences of the Bloodshed God Palace were allowed to accept disciples. Other powerful existences could not accept disciples. Chihua Laozu was also among the powerful existences. He was also an idle powerful existence who had not joined the Bloodshed God Palace. Let's begin, then. Bloodblade calmly ordered. To the God Emperor who had stood at the apex for so many years, the Myriad Flower Feast was just a gathering of old friends. As for choosing disciples, that was just a minor matter. Even those with sufficiently high statuses would find it hard to accept disciples. For instance, Bloodblade was too lazy to even accept grade 1 true meaning transcendence. He was a stage 4 world deity. His gaze swept across the 1,900 deities. I'll send you all over now to begin the Bloodshed God Palace battle. Dongbua Shui-Ying, 7th Meiyu, Jiushi, Drunk Guest, and many other powerful deities from the other prefectures were all waiting quietly. Finally, the blood-armored general activated the array. Beneath the region where Dongbua, Shui-Ying, and the other 1,900 deities were located, a golden array lit up. An unseen force immediately wrapped around the consciousness of Dongbua, Shui-Ying, and the others, and sent them flying into the distance. For a moment, Dongbua, Shui-Ying, and the others lost consciousness. Their consciousness was transported to another location. Amen? Dongbua Shui-Ying looked at the towering mountain in front of him, as well as the mountain range in the distance. There were countless caves within this mountain range, and within these caves were shrouded in mist. Violet mist, black mist, golden mist. Shui-Ying swept his gaze across the area and saw several other deity experts standing in midair. Clearly, there were a total of 1,900 deities scattered throughout the mountain range. Truly formidable. My consciousness was transported here so easily. Dongbua Shui-Ying sensed his own body. Furthermore, this body is exactly the same as my true body. The same time immemorial body level 3, and the same great chaotic true force. The Bloodshed God Palace battle was the safest, because it was merely a consciousness descending. Even if one died in battle, their consciousness would only return. First place in the ranking battle, and second place in the survival battle of the Kamsi Prefecture, Dongbua. In the distance, a deity frowned when he saw Dongbua Shui-Ying. He immediately flew off in another direction. Clearly, Dongbua Shui-Ying was ranked at the very front of the 1,900 deities. Only those who grasped grade 1 deity hearts could suppress him. Star. Chapter 468. The mountain range stretched on endlessly. Dongbua Shui-Ying swept his gaze across the area. Including himself, there were a total of 3 deity experts within the range of this mountain range. Everyone was maintaining a sufficient distance from each other. Weapons began to condense from the soil and rocks of the mountain. Sabers, swords, staffs, whips, spears, hammers, axes, all of these weapons were merely top-grade deity-ranked weapons. With a wave of his hand, Dongbua Shui-Ying summoned a storage treasure 3 spears, and a large number of pikes. He easily refined his storage treasure and put away the spears and pikes, leaving behind a new spear in his hand. In truth, Dongbua Shui Ying's mirage body was already extremely tough, and the weapons it could transform into were more than enough for him to use. The 2 deity experts in the distance also chose their own weapons and waited silently. Since they dared to stay here, they had something to rely on to protect themselves. The Bloodshed God Palace battle does not restrict you by any means. Your final ranking will be determined by the number of venomous insects you kill. A majestic voice resounded in the ears of every deity expert. Only 100 will be able to attend the myriad flower feast and enjoy the myriad flower true fruit. These 100 will definitely be accepted as disciples by powerful existences. As for those ranked after the 100th place, it would depend on luck. High up in the sky above the mountain range, a gigantic blood-colored list suddenly appeared. Your ranking will be displayed on the list at all times. The list will change according to the number of venomous insects you kill. You can take a good look and know your own ranking, the majestic voice said. The Bloodshed God Palace battle will now begin. As soon as the voice finished, almost every mountain in the mountain range began to surge with energy, causing the mountain range to tremble. Dongbua Shui Ying and the 2 experts around him stared intently at the movements of this mountain range. All they saw was a violet mist slowly condensing from one of the caves on this mountain range, eventually forming a violet venomous insect about the size of a millstone. This venomous insect had a tough outer shell, and its compound eyes scanned its surroundings. Then, with a flap of its wings, it instantly disappeared. Shua! 3 starry-robed Dongbua Shui Ying and a skinny swordsman appeared at almost the same time, and an arrow tore through the air. All of them missed their target. However, the arrow streaked across the void and collided with the purple venomous bug in the void crack thousands of miles away. Both of them appeared in the real world. The arrow hit the purple poisonous insect's shell, and cracks appeared on the shell. The arrow fell down. On the other hand, the outer shell of the poisonous insect was gradually recovering. What a powerful poisonous insect! Dongbua Shui Ying, the skinny swordsman, and the huge man who shot the arrow from afar were all shocked. That huge man was called Guoxie, and he came from the famous Bamboo Mountain Prefecture. In the survival battle of the Bamboo Mountain Prefecture, Guoxie was ranked 19th. His archery was extremely powerful, and although it was not his ultimate move, it was still very powerful. Unexpectedly, he only managed to leave a crack on the venomous insect's shell. So south. The 3 Dongbua Shui Yings disappeared at the same time, reappearing next to the purple venomous bug in the distance. Their 3 spears carried a world-destroying might as they executed the chaotic suppression, which was powered by the great chaotic true force. In an instant, the surrounding space started to collapse. The venomous insect wanted to escape, but it could not. It could only face this terrifying encirclement. Pung, 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 the spears either struck the venomous insect's claws, abdomen, or directly on its shell. The venomous insect immediately let out an ear-piercing howl of pain. The howl created a shockwave that spread in all directions. The 3 mirage bodies all felt an intense pain in their ears, and they felt slightly dizzy. Fortunately, they had the time immemorial body, so they were able to endure it. Rip! A terrifying sword light suddenly appeared from the side, piercing through the venomous purple insect's head. However, it only managed to pierce through halfway before the skinny swordsman immediately pulled out his sword and retreated. This was because the 3 Dongbua Shui Yings had simultaneously waved their spears and swept them towards him. He's really fast at escaping. The 3 Dongbua Shui Yings glanced at him. They then continued to attack the venomous purple insect. This Dongbua is really strong. These venomous insects are really hard to kill. It's very difficult for the 2 of us to ambush and kill these venomous insects first. The skinny swordsman frowned from afar. The bow-wielding giant, Guoxie, also frowned. Dombua's mirage heart of Godheart has already reached an unimaginable level. His real body is hiding in the mirage, and we can't even find it. The three bodies that are fighting outside are all mirage bodies. Even if we could kill them, it would be pointless. Even if the mirage bodies die, they can quickly reform. Yes, I have no way of killing this venomous insect. The skinny swordsman turned around and instantly disappeared. The giant, Guixia, was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he watched from afar. At the same time, he had already drawn his godly bow and nocked 3 arrows. In the distance, the 3 Shui Yings were frantically attacking the venomous bug. The venomous bug's defense was extremely strong, and under its all-out attack, its carapace began to gradually shatter. Only then did blood begin to seep out of its body. It was still madly howling as it fought against the 3 Shui Yings. Occasionally, it would shoot out a poisonous needle from its mouth. The attack was fast and sudden, and even the mirage body, with its tyrannical strength, would be pierced through. The poison was extremely potent, but the mirage body itself had no fear. It easily dispersed and condensed, repelling the poisonous needle. Right now, the giant, Guixia's eyes lit up. Xiao, xiao, xiao. The 3 arrows were like 3 dazzling meteors. They drew 3 arcs in the air and instantly appeared around the venomous purple insect. Clang, clang, clang. The 3 Dombua Shui Ying's bodies would rather use their bodies to block the venomous insect's attack than to wield their spears to block the 3 arrows. With Dombua Shui Ying's mastery of the mirage in space, as well as the profoundness of his spear arts, it was not difficult for him to block the 3 arrows. The power of these arrows is really strong. The 3 Dombua Shui Ying's bodies staggered from the impact. The venomous purple insect seized the opportunity to escape. South, the 3 Dombua Shui Yings immediately chased after it. He would rather ignore the venomous insect and block my attack? The giant, Guixia, frowned. If it was any other deity expert, they would not be able to ignore the venomous insect. However, the mirage bodies would allow the venomous insect to attack freely. Forget it, forget it. I'll let him have this place. The giant, Guixia's figure moved. Instantly, he turned into a dazzling beam of light. His speed was extremely fast, and with a flash, he disappeared into the void. Both he and the skinny swordsman were experts in speed. That was why they dared to compete with Dombua Shuang. Pung, 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 with the coordination of various spear arts, the venomous insect's head was pierced through. However, the venomous insect did not die, and continued its frenzied counterattack. Pooh! The carapace was completely shattered. A spear pierced through the venomous insect's body, and with a violent shake, the venomous insect's tattered body shattered. Only then did the venomous insect die. What a fellow! Killing a venomous insect took me 10 breaths of time. Dombua Shui Ying was also speechless. He raised his head and looked at the huge blood-red board in the sky. There were already 65 names on it, and Dombua Shui Ying was ranked 65th. The entire sky above the Bloodshed God Palace was filled with illusory images of mountains, deity experts, and an incomparably huge blood-red board. Within the Bloodshed God Palace, everyone could see the Bloodshed God Palace battle when they raised their heads. His Majesty, the God Emperor, and the other almighties were all chatting as they watched the scene unfold. Many of the world deities in the Bloodshed God Palace, such as the White Sand City Lord and King Rong Hai, as well as other world deities who had come from all over the world, as well as some deities like the Xia clan deities and Jingxiu, were all looking up. Quick look! The Xia people looked at the huge blood-red board excitedly. There are only 65 names on the board, and Dombua's name is already on it. The Bloodshed God Palace battle has only just begun, the old man Purple Thunder Emperor said. The old man, the Purple Thunder Emperor, said, "The further it goes, the crueler it will be. Deity-level experts will even kill each other. Given Dombua's strength, he should be able to participate in a myriad flower feast and enjoy a myriad flower true fruit," Yunhai said. They all looked on expectantly. that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.